Hello, listeners and readers of AwardsWatch.com. This is your Executive Editor Ryan McQuade. I'm just giving you a little bit of heads up. We had a little bit of technical difficulties on this episode, some problems with my internet and others as well. So we tried to do our best we could, but just be patient with us. It's still all the great predictions you would want on our final predictions episode. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hello, listeners and readers of AwardsWatch.com. This is the AwardsWatch Podcast, episode 173, and it's the final predictions episode. It's a big one. This is a big episode. I am your Executive Editor, Ryan McQuade. Joining me today is our Editor-in-Chief, Erik Anderson.
Hello, everybody.
Coming back from the Indie Spirit Awards, right onto the mic. It's hot. He's ready to go. He's got hot takes. And joining us also Sophia Ciminello.
Hi, everyone.
Just us three today. It's just us. That's okay. We
great.
thought
Little group.
Yeah, it's just a great little group. Nicole's sick. Kevin's at a movie. Tyler's working. Dan's preparing for South by. Josh is somewhere. I don't know. I haven't talked to Josh today. So it's just us. We're going to do our Oscar predictions. Erik, do you want to say anything real quick about the Indie Spirits? You were just at them. How was the beet salad? How was Paul Mescal's arms?
Both were absolutely delicious.
Okay.
And both wetted and satiated.
Evidently, he listens to podcasts, so he might listen to ours. He loves you so much.
Yeah, maybe he will. No,
This is exciting. This really throws a wrench in things for today.
We really love you, Paul. So no predictions for a reflection on love, okay?
Oh my God.
Still the best. Still the best guy out there, right? But
I don't know. What do you want to know? Are we talking about the Spirit Awards? Are we talking about that history-making sweep and what it means in the middle of Oscar voting and what is happening?
If it means anything in the middle of it already, you know?
According to Hassan Minaj, nobody watched the show because it was on YouTube. So
That's fair, even though I don't know, SAG did pretty well, and this has done pretty well, and other platforms that have embraced social media, they've done pretty well. I thought the show actually ran pretty smoothly. You were in the room. Did it feel like it? Like it ran like a well-oiled machine?
But the mood and the feeling was definitely missing the commercial breaks
to go around and see people,
because you couldn't wander around. I mean, you could wander around. Me and Thomas Lafley were running behind the cameras from the Spirit Awards tent to the press tent where the winners go after and do their little
to the bar. No, I'm just kidding.
There was a full bar in the press room.
I bet there was
a full bar. So that was actually really funny, running back and forth between there. But even though it was my first time, I definitely missed the periods where we could kind of mingle and do that. But I kind of did anyway. I ran up to
you do it anyway. Get the hell out of the way, Cameron. You just went in there.
I sat with Frankie and Paul and Adela and Barry and all them. I'm just sitting here.
Yeah, this is where I sit now. I was kind of hoping when they won Best First Feature, if I was going to see a shot of you sitting there or not. Actually,
I was trying to make it happen so hard, it's not even funny.
And they were like, "Get out of here, go on."
Yeah, it was full, and I wasn't about to take a.
I'll be a seat filler.
Like, Frankie, go get some candy.
Oh, not gonna kick out Frankie. It was a big day yesterday. Obviously the dominance continued for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Best feature, director, screenplay, editing.
Not screenplay. It wasn't nominated for screenplay.
Oh, was it not? Oh no, it wasn't screenplay. It was
one. Cinematography.
But then it was lead.
Sorry. Yeah.
Now you're jumping ahead.
Because Jamie Lee Curtis gave it to them, and that was
exactly.
I hated that.
No, they did. They did win screenplay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I was right. Okay. Here we go. All right. See, it's the jet lag, folks. All right.
How do you have jet lag in the same time zone?
Evidently you showed us.
Yes.
Evidently. Best lead performance, Michelle Yeoh. Best supporting performance, Ki Kwan. It's they've done the gender neutral categories for the first time this year in their close to 30-year history. So, and I thought that those went really well for the most part.
They went really well for Everything Everywhere All at Once because they won them all.
Exactly. Best breakthrough performance, Stephanie Hsu. So Jamie Lee Curtis was the only one at that table that didn't win anything.
They won everything that they could win because they had 8 nominations and 2 of them were in the same category.
Yeah, so they did that. They did the thing.
It was a sweep. It was a sweep in the same way that SAG was a sweep.
Yep.
Yep. What's happening is just wild. It's awesome.
Well, this one wasn't as surprising.
No.
Yeah.
Because this is voted on by people that can pay $99 in order to get a vote.
Yes, the nominations are not by film independent members, and that is why we get some really strange things sometimes. Not strange in a bad way, but strange in a wow, how did that happen kind of way.
Like, if there is a beloved movie, it's going to get awarded a lot.
Or screenplay or first screenplay or director, and just some really weird misses.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you get a lot of really wonderful things that people can go, oh, wow, I need to watch this. And that's always one of the best things about any nominations that are left of center than what we're expecting.
The best thing about the Indie Spirits, no offense to anyone that votes on it, is the nominees themselves. Because then that's when you really get to see some surprise films or some smaller performances that don't get recognized throughout the rest of the season get in there.
That's
the wins then the
sad, Ryan. Thanks.
Well, I said it much better and much clearer, and
I guess this is going to be a 4-hour podcast.
It's going to be a 4-hour show. I'm just going to repeat everything you said. But anyway, Sophia, did you watch it yesterday?
I went to see Creed 3 instead.
Smart move.
So I'm sorry.
Don't go and watch an independent movie. Go watch a giant blockbuster that made $100 million worldwide.
Right. Yeah. I wanted to see Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors in all of their glory, which was a great choice, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I caught up on the results later and they weren't too surprising to me, honestly, just because it is a pay-to-play ceremony and Everything Everywhere All at Once has such a hold over people right now in a really real way. And when we get into our Oscar predictions, we can talk about that. And right now, it's really not a question of, what will Everything Everywhere All at Once win. It's how many and how dominant will it be, really?
Yeah. I mean, essentially, the Indie Spirits are with the Film Twitter Awards in a lot of ways. And that's what they've kind of turned to over the last couple of years. And
I love the nominations. I really do. It's always fun to look and see at all the different categories. I think, especially with performances, of what I maybe missed during the year and need to catch up on. And like Dale Dickey, for example, for A Love Song, great nomination. And I was able to, I think seeing that nomination reminded me of how much I loved that performance. And then I think from there, people are able to really seek out those films that are maybe underseen at that point.
I always love the Altman Award too, the Robert Altman Award. That's
definitely
my favorite of all the awards, because it's like, oh, this one won't be voted on by someone with 6 followers that paid $99. It'll be voted on by people that are legitimate. Okay, cool.
And it's named after the great Robert
Altman. Yeah, exactly. And also too, it goes to a real ensemble, which is always a great thing. I always loved it when Suspiria of all things won the Robert Altman Award. I was like, yes, this makes perfect sense. Good for it. So yeah, it was a very much the same thing being repeated over and over again. But I'm glad you had fun, Erik. I'm glad that the beet salad was good too, and that the drinks were flowing. You know what I mean?
Too much. Yeah.
Too much. Did you have too much?
I did not. No.
Yeah. You've been a good boy the last couple of weeks.
Always good.
Yeah. Can't wait till this week. We'll check in on you on Sunday night.
I'm gonna try and be as good as I can.
Sure. Well, again, we'll check back on Sunday night. All right, we're here to do our final Oscar predictions. These are final. These are set in stone. You can't change them. Erik's going to try to change them in pieces. You're not going to. This is it.
No, they're not.
Better reflect it on the website. Otherwise, we're going to come right back and do this 4-hour show all over again.
No,
So
I will just redo it with ADR on Friday.
a little Kate Blanchett ADR. You know what I mean?
a little spazzatura.
Yeah, a little spazzatura.
Just you
ADR.
screaming about editing or something.
Editing.
And Eric, what are your thoughts on Best Actor?
All right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do them all, including the shorts. So if anyone's tracking along at home, they can see who's right. They can see who's wrong. Eric's gonna have pieces all up on the site. He's started his pieces. He hasn't finished his pieces. He goes and has fun instead of doing his homework. So
because we've got
a ton of
whole
stuff.
bunch of things that have happened since then,
Yes.
with certain categories like
Editing
USC and Cinema Audio Society, ACE.
Yeah, and we can kind of predict what might happen, at least on the original screenplay side of things for WGA.
Yeah, that's a little bit easier with all of the
That other side, though, we'll have to wait and see once the tape is revealed. But when is that? Later today, early tomorrow? Tomorrow?
That
WGA? That's later tonight, right? Tonight?
It is. But
God, they really got to start. They really got to do some brunch award shows. Really, if they're on a Sunday.
That's a great idea.
Right?
A brunch awards
for
show.
the West Coast, like to have a brunch. Like hell yeah, who wouldn't say no to that? We're all done by 3:00. It would be like 7:00 on this side of the world. Just saying, it's pretty good.
Ideal.
Yeah. All right. We're doing all the categories. Let's start with Best Animated Short Film. The nominees are The Boy, the Mole, The Fox and the Horse, The Flying Sailor, Ice Merchants, Eric's favorite, My Year of Dicks, and An Ostrich Told Me the World is Fake, and I think I believe it. Erik, where are you going with this category?
I already did post my predictions, but I'm kind of going back and forth because it's really between The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse and Ice Merchants.
Mm-hmm.
With the former having BAFTA and Annie and a massive, massive campaign from Apple and the most visibility. But it's also 32 minutes long. And there hasn't been a winner over 16 minutes since 2007. And Ice Merchants is 14 minutes long. And it is a gorgeous, wordless, beautiful film and feels so much like a winner here. So I don't know if I'm going to change mine or not. I think I'm probably sticking with The Boy and the Mole, but Ice Merchants makes more sense.
Okay. So what's your official prediction?
I'm sticking with The Boy and the Mole for right now.
All right. Sophia?
I'm going with Ice Merchants. I was really tempted to go with My Year of Dicks because sometimes they vote based on a title, and this is a buzzy, great title. So is The Ostrich, though. So we have some good titles really floating all around. But Ice Merchants is one of those shorts where it's my personal favorite of the category. And the more I hear about this category, the more I hear that people really like this one and that it's really moved them. And it's hard because I'm tempted to go with the star power and the money and the campaign of The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, but I'm going to go with Ice Merchants.
Oh, yeah, I've been tossing and turning between these two. I think I'm going to go with The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And the reason why is what you just said, Sophia. Like that thing's been everywhere right now. It is. They have campaigned it very, very much everywhere. I mean, shoot, they even got Erik doing stuff out there while also updating iOS devices out there in San Francisco. You know what I mean? So, I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Didn't you help that lady out there? Didn't she get an upgrade on her iPhone?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. There you go. But also, I just feel like that one's it's won awards. Yes, it's long, but I'm just gonna say this. a lot of history's being broken at this ceremony, so I'm not really going off of like things of the past because that really doesn't matter this year. So might as well go out there on some predictions, and it's always these stupid categories that end up making or breaking whether you get like a ton of things right or if you're like the most smart person in the room of all the predictors. So
most smartest.
So therefore, I'm going to go with Erik here, and if I'm wrong, I get to blame him. So there you go.
Yeah, but I might change mine on Friday afternoon and go with Ice Merchants, and I'm gonna like,
nope, you can't. We have the audio tape that you can't change it. So
that's see, I have a website, see, like a whole place where I put these predictions, and I can edit it. So
all right, all right. Best documentary short subject: The Elephant Whisperers, Haul Out, How Do You Measure a Year, The Martha Mitchell Effect, and Stranger at the Gate. Sophia.
I have Stranger at the Gate, and I've been predicting this since I first saw it and didn't like it months ago because it reminded me a lot of Skin and Two Distant Strangers, two other shorts I really don't like. That one. So I'm sticking with it. I'm also sticking with it because of one Malala, who has been campaigning like crazy.
I saw it. Yep. I agree.
It just feels like the winner here. I mean, I know a lot of people are predicting Elephant Whisperers, and that makes sense in a way. How Do You Measure a Year has a good title, but this just feels like what they go for in this category.
Erik?
Yeah, I'm totally exactly in line with that. It is one of those horrible concept films that seems to do really, really well in the short categories where it's like, let's take the worst possible person and then reframe their actions as honorable, and it's kind of super gross. So I think it is winning. Yeah,
I haven't watched it,
but you know, The Elephant Whisperers is very my octopus teacher light, and it could definitely pull some appeal. But yeah, Stranger at the Gate.
You guys are really making a strong case for me to watch these. Really, it's just Stranger at the Gate.
You should.
It's like Skin, which is
I was
awful.
gonna bomb you guys, but I decided not to. Hero.
The Elephant
Ryan,
Whisperers.
that's literally what this movie. That's what the short is.
It's thin.
What are we doing? God. Two Distant Strangers. I swear to God, one of those other ones where I ended up watching it and I went, this is winning an Oscar. So yeah, okay, that makes total sense. But also too, yeah, she was at the she was at the what is it, the Oscar luncheon, the nominee lunch,
talking to Tom Cruise.
I was sitting there, I was going like, is she actually nominated? Because that would make it 10 times easier if she was nominated. You know, she's just pushing it.
Big vocal visual support.
Also, it's like all over Instagram too. That one is like, you can't go away from it right now. They're just everywhere.
Unfortunately, you can't.
So, well, looks like we're putting this one on with the family later in the year. Yeah, I'm going with Strangers at the Gate. Yeah, that's just kind of it's simple. I think look out for Elephant Whisperers, which is a sentence I thought I'd never say in my life. Look out for Elephant Whisperers. They're right behind you. But Strangers at the Gate. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. All right. Best live action short film: Night Ride, The Red Suitcase, and Irish Goodbye. I'm going to butcher these other two names just because do you know them, Sophia? The other two?
Les Pupilles.
Okay, and there you go. And the other one?
The other one? I don't know off the top of my head.
Avulu?
Oh, Evalu.
Evalu. There you go. Yeah. No, well, then why didn't you say it, Erik? You let us.
Literally said it 4 times.
Well, what are you picking? What are you picking?
I'm going with Les Pupilles, but an Irish Goodbye seems much more likely, and it won BAFTA. But again, a lot of these visibility is such an important part of it, since everybody can vote. When it was the era of only the branches voting, you could, they were all watching them because it's a smaller amount of people. I think more people are going to see the Alfonso Cuarón produced, Alice Walker directed film. But I think Irish Goodbye is super sneaky. Those Irish this year, I don't know.
Wow. All right. Calm down. Calm down.
Yeah, you're going to try. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
You can go.
She's dead. I can't make fun of her. All right.
It's the year of the Irish and the Germans, really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was torn here too because when I saw all of these, Les Pupilles struck me as the most creative also, and I really liked, I don't know, the cinematography and the story, and it just I like Alice Rohrwacher as well. But it's so long in comparison to the others, which is always something that holds me back.
Mm.
I am going to stick with it for now, but this is one I feel like I might change at the last minute based on a gut feeling to The Irish Goodbye, just because that is such a simple, easy story. It's short. You know what? I'm going to go with it. We're going to do that live. I'm going to say An Irish Goodbye. I'm going to switch
Oh my God.
because it's also something where, not to be this way, but like if they watched Banshees this year too, like it's just on the brain. It's a good title. And yeah, it's something that I think it's a story that everyone can relate to. It's about a bucket list and like going
Mm.
after what you want to do before you die ultimately. So yeah,
Mm.
I'm gonna pick that one.
The corona of it all just makes
I
me
know.
want to pick the Pupile, but at the same token though, you're right, Sophia. It's the Banshees has done so well. Paul, Paul, if you're still listening, we still love you. An Irish Goodbye. It really has been the Quiet Girl as
Uh-huh.
well. It's really been the year of the Irish, and being embraced by the Academy. I think I'm going to go with An Irish Goodbye. But if I don't, then and, and
Hey, I mean, it
Tyrone
might
wins,
be the best
Tyrone would
chance an
win.
Irish film has to win an Oscar of all of these. So
We'll
Yeah,
talk about that. I think you're
truly.
wrong. So there you go.
We'll see. Yeah.
We'll see. All right. Best visual effects. I'm gonna do my favorite thing. Is anyone else not predicting Avatar: The Way of Water to win this category? No. Okay, then we can move on. That's a across the board 3 Avatar. Avatar's winning the Oscar. All right, moving on. Let's go to one that will be interesting. Sound. Best sound. All right. I think we're going to have some fun with this category. All right. Best sound. All Quiet on the Western Front. Avatar: The Way of Water. The Batman. Elvis. And Top Gun Maverick. Sophia, what do you have winning best sound?
I have had Top Gun Maverick winning this category for months, and I'm not going to change it now.
Okay.
It's one of the guilds. I think it makes sense also as a big editing player. We won't share my vote there yet, but
we'll be going there soon.
Thinking about the sound editing combination, I think that of all of the films here in the sound category, this one is the strongest. Yeah. And it has great sound work. So I'm going to pick it.
All right. Okay. Erik?
Well, I mean, I think we should be doing sound and editing together.
Well, do you want to do them together? It's kind of a big award to do together.
I think we should.
I didn't know whether to do it or not.
My prediction piece for film editing and sound today. It's coming out tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Because of it's long. Because of the connection between the two categories in history, but how things are so fucking upside down this year.
Yeah.
Because we have had the crossover of nominations of films between the two categories is much less than it usually is. There's only 2 films, Elvis and Top Gun. Everything Everywhere missed sound. All Quiet missed editing.
Well, let me stop you before you continue to go. Since you want to do all best editing,
I do.
The nominees for best editing are The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick. There, continue. You can keep going.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's like with a lot of the categories this year. How much are you going to go with history? How far back are you going to go? How much do precursors matter?
Right.
All of those things. What did the last few years look like? And will it be different? We're in a lot of unprecedented territory. Everything Everywhere has BAFTA editing, its only win. Critics' Choice,
still wild,
and the Ace for comedy.
Yeah,
nobody's ever gotten that before. that exact breakdown, because Ace Comedy is not really given as much credence as Ace Drama is.
Nope.
Hank Corwin is shaking.
Mm-hmm. And Top Gun obviously won the Ace for drama. So that does not help this situation at all. But it was also pretty expected. So I'm torn. I am absolutely excited for this. This is where Top Gun actually, the only things that can really, really win are here. It could go completely empty-handed,
which would be kind of shocking from the early part of the year where we were saying that this is going to be the big tech player of the season, and especially in these categories, you know. And then of course it's missing cinematography and you know.
But then again, like I said, everything everywhere, missing sound, but then dominating editing wins. Things are the roads are very, very just forked in a lot of these races, which again makes it super, super fun, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But last year Dune lost all film editing precursors, all of them, and then went on to win at the end and win sound. And that, to me, is one of those examples of maybe not laziness, but absolutely default voting that I think some members do. I mean, it's where was the path for Dune other than
it just dominating the text, which it needed to. You know what I mean?
So then how does who gets that this year? Is it Everything Everywhere? Is it All Quiet? I
was going to say, is it All Quiet on the Western Front?
There's a lot of ways that this could go.
Yep.
A lot of ways. I'm not sure I'm quite ready.
Well, you have to make a prediction, dear.
Yeah.
I will in a second. I'll let somebody else.
We're just going to vamp for another 45 minutes about this.
I can do my editing one since I did my sound one.
Yes.
So I'm actually predicting a split here this year, just because I'm not just trying to, like, I don't know, play the best case scenario for predictions wise of going with one here and one another place. But I have Everything Everywhere winning editing, even without the sound nomination, just because I think that this film, a lot of people, myself included, think that the editing is probably the strongest or most interesting part of the film. It's how it's put together, how it's cut together. And I think a lot of people think about that sequence of Michelle, of Evelyn going through all of the different verses. And it's a case too of most editing, and they tend to like that as well. They tend to go for that. So I think it's fine to have a split. Things change all the time. So that's the split I've landed on. But I wouldn't be surprised if Top Gun won here somehow, or if All Quiet won sound.
See, I think
that's what's tricky.
Yeah. So in editing, what's really interesting is, like, to your point, Sophia, about like most editing, after just recently rewatching it again, like, that's Elvis in a nutshell. Like that, just Elvis has felt like this for such a long time. And that's a movie also too that it's literally got points of being on a goddamn soundstage. You know what I mean? Like it's to me, I always thought that if another film that wasn't Top Gun was going to do it, it was going to be Elvis, because from a technical standpoint, that just makes total sense. We've had this route go this way before with Bohemian Rhapsody. So it's not like it's that is a very sneaky thing to think about when we come to Oscar night too. And also the fact that Elvis has done really well throughout the season, maybe not necessarily in these categories, but has done well in terms of his nomination haul and is very popular. And it goes back down to, though, I think the common theme that we'll have today is that there is one film that seems to just have dominated at the guilds, and dominated in terms of just being the film that everybody puts at the top of the ballot, regardless of the category it's in. So ultimately, I'm going with Everything Everywhere All at Once in editing. But for sound, I think it's going to be All Quiet on the Western Front. I think that BAFTA is going to carry over. And I think that Top Gun Maverick is going to fade as it has continued to fade throughout this season. And yes, Erik, I can't wait for you to put your pom-poms out there. I do have it going home with a big fat goose egg, nothing. And I think that that's not something I would have thought about 3 or 4 months ago.
Did you?
It's a goose egg.
So tacky.
So tacky, you love it. But no, I just think that I if it does win, it would have to win both. But if it loses one early in the night, then it's not going to walk away with editing, in my opinion. And yes, I do think that you're absolutely right with Everything Everywhere All at Once. That movie is another example of the most edited. It's a movie that has to have great editing in order to succeed. If its editing faults at any point, that movie becomes a jumbled mess, because you're talking about jumping from so many different universes. And it's not, because it's connecting with people. And I think that that's not just the script. I think that falls heavily on Paul Rogers' shoulder. Plus, not a bad dude to look at either. My God. So I know that they don't think about that in the booth, but I would. And so, yeah, I think that it's one of the wins that Everything Everywhere All at Once will have. And yes, I do think it's one of those BAFTA wins that's going to come over as well. I told this last week, Erik, to Sophia and Dan, I think we're going to get an interesting mix of what's happened over the last 2 weeks and what's happened at BAFTA as well, where Everything Everywhere is going to have a good night, but then there's going to be wins also as well for BAFTA winners. There's going to be a good crossover. It's not going to be one side dominates over the other. It really feels like there'll be like, you get this, but then this got here and stuff like that. I know that's not how it usually works, but that's how these telecasts usually work out, to be fair.
Yeah, I think the sound category is really the most fascinating because Top Gun does have MPSE and CAS, great combination. But then All Quiet beat it at
BAFTA.
And it has its own motion, picture sound win as well for language film. So it's in the game too, and that was also nominated at CAS. So I think it's a lot closer than some people maybe want it to be. I feel like Elvis, even though it's getting everything, it's
not winning.
Number 3.
Yeah,
it's definitely number 3 in both categories.
But it's right there.
But it's not strong enough to win either of them.
Yeah.
So
too bad we don't have mixing.
If we had a split, this would help. Yeah.
I miss it so much.
I missed this editing and mixing categories. I missed 24
I think if we did, we could have Top Gun winning one and All Quiet winning the other.
I think Everything Everywhere All at Once would have gotten one of them.
I think possibly it did lead the MPSE nominations. And
that's what I'm saying.
All crazy.
Saying it's ridiculous.
Let's see. If I was Casey Affleck in Manchester by the Sea,
oh God,
gun to my head right now.
Yeah. Why would you say that? Good Lord.
Yeah, you know why I said that.
People using that. Good Lord.
My film editing prediction is going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once, and my sound prediction is going to be All Quiet.
Oh.
Sorry.
Looks like I make it a good argument.
Sorry, America.
Sorry.
We lost this time. How many wins?
Enemy unknown. Anyway. All right. Best makeup and hairstyling. All Quiet on the Western Front. The Batman, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Elvis, and The Whale. This feels like this might be the showdown that we also see in another category maybe later. Who knows? Erik, what do you have for best makeup and hairstyling?
Let me look at my list.
I think I know who you have.
Yeah, but Yeah.
Who'd you have, Erik? Who are winning this?
I am going with Elvis.
Oh, okay.
It
Interesting.
has the BAFTA Critics' Choice and Makeup and Hairstylist Guild. It won 2 things there: the period hair and period makeup.
Mm-hmm.
The Whale did win the special makeup effects, which is not too surprising. But
Nope.
precedent to only win that and then win the Oscar is bleak at best.
Mm.
There isn't really one, actually.
Nope.
The closest that we have is Frida from 2002.
Man, if we're having to dig that far back.
And that's, you can't even like really go to that because there were only 2 nominees that year. That and the Time Machine. And,
yep. Oh my God, the Time Machine.
Oh yeah, Frida had
with
lost.
Guy Pearce.
Frida, that's that movie so bad.
Oh my God,
Frida had lost the special makeup effects award at MUA to Lord of the Rings, which didn't get nominated. No. So that was a crazy year. Mm-hmm. So there isn't really much of a precedent for the Whale winning, despite the fact that the makeup in it and the technology and creation is pretty spectacular. But I think, as you alluded to, this category has become so weirdly connected to leading performances that are very physically transformational and biopic-y. So I'm going with Elvis. So that can maybe tell you what I might be doing later.
And also, to be fair, it's not just about seeing the film and the performance. It's about like the first still we see of these performances. Then we're like, oh, well, that's definitely a makeup nominee, because that's what it feels like. And you're right. It's every biopic nominee performance that we've seen over the last couple of years that sort of just squeak in here and get in there. And that's what happened for Jessica Chastain last year for The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Really a lot. It's Meryl Streep. It's Gary Oldman. It's Jessica Chastain. It's Marianne Cotillard. It's a lot.
Was it Vice? Vice one? No.
Well, yeah, but
but you know what I mean.
Christian Bale wins.
No, but he would still biopic performance. Yeah, that was nominated. So
although I'd love to see All Quiet win here.
Yeah, which one?
The great use of what makeup is and can be, and war films never get nominated here.
Also, too, like it's all over their posters and everything too for that. Like when you see the stills from this movie, it's the mud and the dirt and the blood.
If Hurt can win this category, why in the world could All Quiet not?
Yeah, no, for sure. Sophia?
Yeah, I have Elvis as well. I think that while the Whale has the fat suit, that prosthetic, Elvis has so much, right? It's makeup and hair associated with characters known for their makeup and hair, like Priscilla and Elvis. Like those wigs, her 2-tier wig that she wears, and Elvis, his transformation throughout the film, the aging makeup. You have the Tom Hanks character.
Yep.
There's a lot of it. And that Mark Coulier magic from the Iron Lady, I think we could see that happen again.
Yeah. I have Elvis as well. Just, I mean, Tom Hanks, right? That's the reason why they went. No, I'm just kidding. I think also too the joke picture that people put around of Austin Butler, kind of like in the bad lighting or everything.
The Vera Farmiga picture.
Oh my god!
Yeah, the Vera Farmiga picture. I think that's coming back to bite people because it's like, oh well, yeah, that's right. It is a makeup player as well. It's like Sophia said, it's like another category we'll talk about. It's like when you think of that movie, you kind of think about the hairstyle, the makeup, the look, Elvis Presley, everything about it, and Colonel Tom Parker as well. You made Tom Hanks look that ugly. And I don't think The Whale is number 2 here. I do think it's All Quiet on the Western Front. Like that movie might be 2 or 1 in some categories below the line. It's showing at BAFTA was very, very strong. And that's a big block of this voting academy as well. We have to keep that in mind going forward. But I do think it'll be Elvis for the win for sure. All right, best costume design. Speaking of Elvis, does anybody else here have anything other than Elvis winning this category? No. Okay.
Oh.
Congratulations, Catherine Martin. You have won one Oscar. Let's move over to production design. Does anybody else have anything other than Elvis winning production design? I bet we do. The nominees are All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Babylon, Elvis, and The Fabelmans. Sophia, what do you have winning best production design? Does she go 2 for 2 again and walk away with another pair of Oscars?
I hope that I sent Florencia Martin all of the good vibes during our interview and that she wins here for Babylon. I have Babylon predicted. It's hit everywhere, and I expected Elvis to get the double again with costume design and production design, but winning ADG and SDSA, they also love old Hollywood. It is tried and true here in production design, and there's just so much of it in Babylon. Elvis has a lot of it too, like recreating Graceland is a big deal, but Babylon just feels like the winner here, especially with how it's been campaigned.
Well, it's not just the Graceland. I mean, you're talking about the Christmas special.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Vegas,
there's tons of it. It's great work. I mean, it's amazing.
Louise, it's so much. Yeah. No, I mean, both films too. I mean, how many orgy scenes did they recreate? Good Lord. Both movies are production design, the movies in general. I mean, they are literally every penny was spent into that production design. Erik, do you have Babylon here too?
Yeah, I have Babylon here, and I was also on the same track that Catherine Martin, who's gone 2 for 2 in production design and costume design with previous Baz Luhrmann films, would probably just do it again. But there definitely looks more like a split. And actually, Elvis beat Babylon here at SDSA, but they've been like just a couple of years. But I'm not gonna. I can't look at
Babylon won BAFTA,
ADG, and Critics' Choice all together.
Oh, that's right. Babylon won BAFTA. Yes.
Yeah, but it won BAFTA, so that's their. Yeah, I think. I think it's. I kept thinking too about Elvis and what the production design is outside. You've got the comeback special. You have that giant Ferris wheel carnival set. You have the streets of Memphis all recreated in Australia. It's pretty substantial, but at the same time, feels like a pittance compared to Babylon.
Yeah.
And that first day shooting in Hollywood sequence alone should be more than enough to send it over the top.
I think this is very close. This is to me. I don't think that it's tough because I agree with you both on the scale of Babylon, and in this being it's I think its strongest category to win. But then I also think about the fact that I know how lazy this Academy is at times, and they do end up going a lot of the times just for the films that are nominated for Best Picture when it comes to it at the end. And Babylon not being in Best Picture kind of hurts it, but it's not really that's the case in this category. But if it's that close, I would give an edge maybe to Elvis. But I think ultimately it'll be a split, and I do think Babylon will take it. But it's very close. There are a lot of races this year that are very, very close. Razor thin margins. This is definitely one. But if Elvis won this, I would not be surprised at all. I would not be surprised. It's impeccable work. I mean, everybody in this category really did.
This is
great work.
This is just one category where Babylon is up against all Best Picture nominees, which is a struggle. I think
it's tough
for some movies to be able to overcome that.
Yeah. It's not like it's it's in a much better place than like the Batman in sound. You know what I mean? Sure. Which is sitting there against everything else that's nominated for Best Picture as well too. So But yeah, I'm gonna go with a non-Best Picture winner to win an Oscar, which, I mean, it happens. It's not out of the realm, you know. Like I said, Tammy Faye last year. There you go. Okay, Best Cinematography. All Quiet on the Western Front, Bardo, love that, Elvis, Empire of Light, and Tar. Sophia.
As much as I want to give the win to the most deserving film here, Tar, Florian Hofmeister, I'm going with All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah.
It's strong. It's really strong, I think, in text. And that winner, this film, the way it's shot and how it looks, feels like a lot of our winners that we've had recently. So along with the strength of the movie, I just feel like it looks like a winner. It feels like 1917. It feels like Dune to me somewhat. So I don't know. I mean, we could get a surprise here. It's happened recently. Mank beat Nomadland, but I'm going to stick with All Quiet on the Western Front.
I don't know how much that was a surprise. Was that a big surprise at the time?
It was a gross surprise. Yeah.
It was a surprise, I think.
Was it a surprise?
I think a lot
okay.
of, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
a little.
Okay. I didn't know. I just remember it being like pretty close. I thought I wasn't too surprised that Mank won.
I think with cinematography, like, yes, that was in black and white. And I think that definitely helped. And I remember like Erik Messerschmidt, he won ASC that year, I think. Mm-hmm. But Nomadland, they like their exteriors.
Yeah, the momentum was going towards Nomadland. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No,
No, I know. That makes sense though.
Yeah, it makes sense. All right. Erik, your pick.
I am going with All Quiet on the Western Front as well. But I'm just weirdly watching out for Elvis.
Yeah, that's exactly who I was going to say.
The precursor so well.
Also too.
And so strangely, Mandy Walker is only the third woman nominated in this category ever. They've all happened in the last, 5 years.
5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And she won the Australian Academy Award for this. She was the first woman to win there. All Quiet won the British Society of Cinematographers. But I don't feel like that a big enough push and deal has been made for Mandy Walker to possibly win, because it is close, especially without Top Gun here. It's a much more open race. They could have completely taken advantage of that.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't. I mean, it didn't even feel like that last year with Ari, to be honest with you, too. Like,
yeah.
It just.
I felt it a little bit more with Ari last year. Like, I remember when she would win critics prizes, or we would see her name on materials.
I know they pushed
Netflix.
Her a lot more in the season solo things and around.
And she totally should have won too. But this feels like I've barely seen anything besides from Baz's Instagram about her being the first.
The other night at I think it was the Costume Guilds or whatever, Baz and Catherine Martin got an award, and they brought her up specifically, Mandy Walker, in the speech. And it's like, yeah, that's cool to see on somebody's phone on Twitter, but the Academy needs to see this. We need to see that, there needs to be more events just with her front and center with Baz. And
Lerman and Martin have done all the heavy lifting with trying to give her the history making platform. And it's a surprise. It's not that it would be a slam dunk for her to win, but I do think there was a big missed opportunity to mount something very specific for her.
Yeah, that's why.
It'd be a cool win too.
Yeah, it would be. But that's why I think the number 2 is Tar, is Florian. I know it's not just recency from Indie Spirits or whatever. I do think that there's a reason why that movie is the only movie nominated for editing, direction, and cinematography from those branches. It just feels. Listen, a lot of those Best Picture films right now feel like they're going home with nothing because of Everything Everywhere All at Once dominance. But that one particular just doesn't feel right that it would walk away with nothing because of the fact that it's done so well throughout the season, even in places with Everything Everywhere All at Once. And so yet I have All Quiet on the Western Front winning this category. I do think if there is the surprise, Florian's the one that's going to come out with that win. But I do think James Friend and his cinematography, which is extraordinary in that film. It's extraordinary in All Quiet, and really from the get-go, you get immersed from his visual lens right from the get-go of and everything in that movie. So yeah, it's tough because also too, Tar's the only one here that has a director correlation nomination as well too. So there is that going for it. I'm gonna go with All Quiet, kind of one of those BAFTA winners, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tar pulled it out. Tar really should pull it out. But might be.
There's something, and I mean, you know how much I love Tar. It's like my number 2. There is something about Tar, and even with all of those exact nominations that it got, which nobody else has that configuration.
Nobody has that.
I think it's realistic to think that the perception of it could be one of tremendous respect for all of it, but not as much passion to vote directly for it.
Yeah.
I always love the respect over passion movies, I suppose. I always have passion for them.
It's and yeah, and I'm not talking about us, obviously.
Yeah.
But just,
no, from the Academy's perspective.
When you start doing a post-mortem on things and something does go empty-handed, you're like, well, wait, why did that happen? Is it because there was more respect and less passion? Is it consensus versus?
Is that they loved to nominate it for it, but when it came down to the win, they're like, but you're not a winner. You know what I mean? Like you're a great nominee.
Cinematography and
editing
is like,
that's a win.
Iconic.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's a great, well, considering where we were at the beginning of the year when the damn teaser trailer came out and everyone said, this is the most inaccessible film of all time. And people have still tried to keep that
Some
damn
people
narrative.
are still saying that.
And it's like, no, it's not. This movie's done really well for itself. It's done even better technically with the Academy than the damn Fablemans, which is crazy when you think about it. So
Star got on here over Top Gun Maverick. So
what does that say?
What anybody has to say doesn't mean nothing.
I mean, there's a juggernaut that's winning Best Picture, and it didn't get in here. Not saying, I'm not trying to say.
Lydia Tarr is the juggernaut. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah, there she goes. Yeah. All right. Best Original Score. All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and The Fablemans. Erik, what do you have winning Best Original Score?
This is a 2-horse race, and both of them have phenomenal amounts of history and statistics to back up why each of them would win.
Yeah.
So it's only really between Babylon and All Quiet.
Yeah.
Babylon got BAFTA noms, Critics' Choice, and 1 Golden Globe. All Quiet won BAFTA. History is not really kind if you aren't nominated for the Golden Globe in this category, which feels random and silly and stupid, but
because it's the Golden Globes.
If it's a thing that happens, then it's a thing that happens. It's yeah. What I in the thing that are so in the last 22 years, only 4 scores from a non-Best Picture nominated film have won over a nominee from a Best Picture nominee.
Yeah.
Red Violin, Frida, Hateful Eight, and Soul.
And Hateful Eight.
Then you can once you start digging into that, you go, okay, well, this is Thomas Newman, and he is the Diane Warren of original score. He's got 14 something nominations. He's never won. Soul was a sweeper the whole season.
Same with Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight was
Ennio Morricone.
For being really honest.
It's a goat. like come on.
Yeah. So like the only one that really stands out like as kind of super weird is, and we're back to Frida here.
Mm-hmm. Good Lord.
Is Elliot Goldenthal winning over The Hours and Catch Me If You Can and Far From Heaven and Thomas Newman again. That category that year, and it's not even against Frida, but literally all four of those other scores were so phenomenally better. But look what happened. It happened anyway. So weird things can happen here. I am going with All Quiet as the winner. Babylon winning would absolutely make perfect sense. But again, this is a category where Babylon is up against 4 Best Picture nominees.
Yeah. Sophia?
I'm going with Babylon. I know it doesn't make statistical sense, but I think if any score can do it, it's one that is this loud and brassy and catchy. The song gets in your head. All Quiet on the Western Front has 3 notes, and it sounds like a Hans Zimmer light score.
Those 3 notes do get in your head, to be fair.
Okay. So I'm gonna go with Babylon, but I wouldn't be surprised if All Quiet on the Western Front wins. The crazy thing would be like, what if John Williams wins for The Fabelmans? But that would be like stranger things have even happened when you think about that. But I do think he would have won somewhere. That score is too small. But it's interesting to think about. This category threw us for a loop with nominations. I think it can throw us for a loop with a win too.
I'm going with the 3 notes. I'm going with All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't think Babylon's going to win 2 categories where it's up against all Best Picture nominees. Because if it had that much love, it would have got nominated for Best Picture as well. It would have gotten other categories as well. Like you have to think about that as a little bit. And the BAFTA win, I'm sorry, plays a lot more for All Quiet. That means a lot more to me than Critics' Choice and the Golden Globes.
That makes sense. It does.
It does.
I mean, it's a BAFTA. I get that. But
it's
they
a
also
BAFTA
love
with these
that movie.
No, they did. And honestly, the one that's kind of sneaky is Everything Everywhere All at Once in a third, because of the fact that
that's in my number 3 spot.
Right now, what we're seeing with Erik, you saw it live there at the Indie Spirits, and we saw it with SAG. Saw it even a little bit, not too much to the certain extent at Critics' Choice, but we saw like a mini version of it at Critics' Choice, where if it starts winning things, that movie's going to win a lot, and it's not going to win 10 Oscars. You know what I mean? And or 11, and I guess it would win 12 because it would win 9 Oscars.
Even win 11.
No, it would win 9, right? Because it would have to
double, so
tie or whatever. Yeah. So or 10, yeah. But anyway, it's not going to win that, but I feel like it's going to win something below the line to go along with what could be a record day above the line. And I do have it winning film editing, so I think that that's what it's going to win. But the sneaky one of it all is that maybe it's also sneaky in the next category we talk about. But I think All Quiet on the Western Front, that BAFTA win was very telling. I agree with you, Sophia. The overall better score is Babylon, but BAFTA.
I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna say All Quiet is only 3 notes, Babylon is just a remixed La La Land. So
somebody had to say
it's the same score.
It's not the same score, but it's also somewhat intentional, but that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. It is. It's the split personality version, which is kind of a great thing for it to be.
And I mean, he had a great score with First Man and everything too, and couldn't cross the finish line at the end. And there seems to be like this
get nominated, and he won that Globe too.
Yeah, exactly.
They love the Globes love him. It just feels
do
like
love him.
Yeah.
and that might be something to think about in how
the Aaron Sorkin of scores.
The having a Globe nomination is in this category is how popular he is. Because during the period between 1999 and 2021, only one movie ever won the original score Oscar without the Globe nomination first, and that was the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah, and also too, Golden Globes used to be a little bit bigger than they used to be now.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, I think every
Just the
year
truth.
we're just seeing the changes in movements of not
BAFTA and SAG mean a hell of a lot more.
Show is important or which has more impact, but just the mind of the Academy voter.
Yeah, and when it's years that it's not a sweeper, clearly
we don't have sweepers anymore.
We don't. Yeah. Well, you just mentioned Soul, and that was like 2 years ago. What are you talking about?
Oh, specific to the category.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm not talking about other categories. I'm not talking about that.
Wait.
Come on, why are you jumping ahead, girl? What are you doing? What's wrong with you? The jet lag is getting to you. You just went an hour outside your house. Good God. What's the deal with jet lag? Anyway, best original song. We have applause.
That's
Felt Like a Woman. Hold My Hand, Top Gun Maverick. Lift Me Up, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Not To from RRR. And This Is a Life from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Erik, what's winning this category?
Obviously, Diane Warren is.
Okay.
I don't know.
Her Oscar needs a friend.
Why are we even talking about it? Yeah.
It does need a friend. It's lonely. Oh my God, Sophia, stop. Oh my God, so true. Diane, if you're listening, we're sorry.
I love her so much.
And Paul, if you're still listening, we love you. All right. Who's winning?
I have Not To winning.
Okay.
I think Lift Me Up might be close, and there could be kind of a, I don't know, like a her type of win here. The last 4 years they've gone with
pop stars,
major superstars, Lady Gaga, Elton John, her, Billie Eilish. That could continue here with Rihanna, but is it maybe?
Well, those songs were bigger, wouldn't you say, than the Scrap?
Yeah, I would say, except for maybe the Her song, which is just one of those sleepy ballads, just like Lift Me Up with a generic name.
No, that's fair. And also, too, it was like a weak category, and it was a Best Picture nominee as well.
Yeah. I mean, Lift Me Up winning would not
just won a bunch of Grammys that year.
It would be a surprise, but I can tell you this: it would have nothing to do with her Super Bowl halftime show.
No, but I will say this about Lift Me Up. I was out to dinner the other night, and I was sitting there. And
Did you hear it at dinner?
Me and wife having sushi, and then it was playing in the sushi bar. And then I was like,
not music for a sushi restaurant.
And then the next thing I heard was the song from Top Gun Maverick on the beach.
Did they know that you were there?
I was like, if Diane Warren's song plays, we're getting the hell out of this restaurant.
All playing on the beach. What's going on?
Yeah, which, I mean, it's also just the better song in Top Gun Maverick than.
They're both bad songs, but Hold My Hand is better, but only in context.
Yeah.
It's really, really well used in the movie.
Yeah. Well, I think of that song. I'm not thinking about the song.
Especially
I'm thinking about the beach scene.
This Is a Life from Everything Everywhere All at Once right there, which is a wonderful song, and Mitski can have an Oscar. David Byrne already has one.
Well, he should have another one because they didn't nominate American Utopia because it wasn't eligible. So it's only makes sense to give him another one. See, if anything on this sweeper train should be winning, it's this. Because this would make me very happy as a giant David Byrne fan. And
who cares about that?
Well,
yeah.
I might make you happy. This is my one like big no guts, no glory prediction. I'm going with This Is a Life.
Hell yeah.
From Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Hell yeah.
I just like not to.
We're gonna get so much hate for this.
No, I know. I just if Everything Everywhere All at Once really is that strong, this is one of those that feels easier to me than it should, just because Hold My Hand and Lift Me Up feel like the same to me. Like I can't decide who would pick which one, right? Yeah. So I feel like they're sort of maybe siphoning votes from each other, or just they don't have enough passion to get over the top. Not to, I think certainly has passion in this category, and it makes sense as a pick, but no one has to watch RRR to see the magic of the song in the movie. Nobody has to do that. So, and they might not even be watching previous shows where this has won or like gotten to see those speeches or anything like that. Whereas This Is a Life is a good song.
Great
Everyone's
song.
watching that movie. And again, like David Byrne, he's not nobody either. So I
People
don't
love
know.
David Byrne. He's had a resurgence over the last couple of years.
Yeah. I'm going out on a limb and predicting it.
It's a good limb
Partially
to
for
go.
fun and because I love it, but I think it can happen.
It's a great limb to go out on. It's my number 2. I'm picking Not To. Actually, I'm not picking Not To. I'm going to pick Rihanna. Just because of the Super Bowl halftime show of it all and everything and her visibility and whatnot. But I think David Byrne's right there. Here's the thing about Not To.
Here's the thing.
2 things. One, it is such a visual song. It really is.
Mhm.
It's such a visual song that you also got to watch the movie. And if it had the passion, like you're saying, Sophia, for it behind it, it would have got nominated for a bunch of other things too.
Like what?
All the stuff it could have been nominated for or eligible for on the short list that it could have, or it could have gotten nominated for tons of other categories, not international
SS
feature.
Rajamoli.
Yeah, it could have got all those nominations that everybody thought it was going to get, and it didn't get those. And the
Well,
passion is clearly behind Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's the movie that has the passion behind it. So Sophia's definitely right there. I just
doesn't mean anything with this.
they're also just lazy too. And
Never.
people love they love their pop stars. They've been on a roll with pop stars lately. So it's also, like I've been saying, it's another great way to, if you're going to have something go alongside with an actor winner, maybe that could help it as well. It also is a tribute. If the voters are thinking about that from the last time they tried to do a tribute to Chadwick Boseman and that didn't work out so well for them. It's the one last time that they could do that. I think that the one flaw in all that is that she should have performed. It would have. I mean, she didn't perform it at the halftime show, which would have helped. But that would have
too.
Are you kidding? For that show to be more boring?
I'm just saying is that it's a song at the time she's nominated for. It was the only new music she had.
All those sleeping bag people would have just gone night, good night.
I'm going with Rihanna.
It makes sense. I think it does. This
It makes
category is
perfect
just crazy. Yeah.
It's nuts. I mean, okay, I'm going to say it. This might be Diane's best year in years. Let's just call it.
Because she has to win for Gonna Be You for 80 for Brady.
She has to win
next
for that.
year.
But no, honestly, that actually would make sense because that would continue the trend of people winning their honorary and then like the next year, right? Then them winning like their real competitive Oscar. Like I think of Spike Lee, for example.
Fucking iconic would it be to win and to get your honorary and then win the competitive
in the same year,
same season?
Yeah, but also you also have to listen to that song and see that movie. It's awful.
No, you don't have to see the movie.
See the song.
Like a Woman is the worst Oscar nominee, I think, of everything. All of the films that we have.
And Blonde exists.
That one was tough. Yeah.
Blonde exists. Yeah, it's awful. I only watched the trailer and I couldn't get through it. Let's just say that. Okay. So Erik, you're going with Not To?
Yeah, unless I change it.
Okay. Sophia's going with This Is Life, and I'm going with Lift Me Up. So one of the only times we've actually kind of been different tonight.
This would be a rarity.
Yep. All right. All right. Best animated feature. Does anybody else have anything other than Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio? All right. Congratulations, Guillermo del Toro. You've won third Oscar? It's third? Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
In another category, too.
Yeah. 3 in 3 categories. Yeah. Good for him. Best international feature film. Does anybody have anything other than All Quiet on the Western Front? All right. Congratulations, Netflix. This is your...
They're going to get some firsts this year.
Well, this is their second in the category.
Yes, but animated will be their first.
Animated will be their first.
When the Sea Beast wins.
So, I hear Puss in Boots has done really, really well for itself.
I would not be mad. I'm sorry. No, I would be, but
I would be. I mean, are you kidding?
I love that.
I would be furious if he didn't win this award. Yeah. Also, shout out Marshall. It's a good category. It's a good category. Turning Red's really good too.
I love that it even got in here, that it was even eligible.
Yeah,
I was honestly very surprised that it was.
I think they just hate Legos. Like, I think that's just what it is. Yeah.
Fair.
All right. Best adapted screenplay. All Quiet on the Western Front.
Wait, are we not doing documentary?
Oh, that's right. Okay. I totally forgot. Thank you, Erik, for being on the show. Best documentary feature. All That Breathes, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, Fire of Love, A House Made of Splinters, and Navalny. Erik?
Fun category, actually. And
great category.
It's really been all over the place. All That Breathes kind of started out. There are so many precursors for this.
Yeah, there's a ton.
Varying degrees that are, small groups, very, hyper specific documentary groups, and then the bigger guilds and all that stuff. And so All That Breathes, amazing film. Should have gotten like a cinematography nomination. Like, I really wish that documentaries were given more than just this category. Sometimes they just deserve more. And it won Cinema Eye Honors. It won International Documentary Association. So it kind of started things, and beating out, Navalny and Fire of Love and All the Beauty and Bloodshed. And it was like, oh wow, what is going on here? It's kind of cool. Then Fire of Love won DGA. Navalny won BAFTA the next day, and then PGA the next week. And that kind of really turned the corner into, I think, something that feels a little more obvious now, and that would be Navalny. And I mean, I have my own feelings about the movie and about Alexei Navalny, and just how weirdly he sort of, I don't know, just presents and positions himself as just not just super heroic or whatever, but I don't know, it's not how I enjoy seeing the central focus and feature of a documentary, with something that feels so orchestrated by its center subject, the way that it is. But yeah, I think people can feel really good about voting for it.
Okay. Sophia?
Yeah, I also have Navalny. I think winning the PGA, and with everything else in the category, I just feel like they all have things that work against them when a general membership votes for an award. Whereas this just reminds me of Icarus, sort of, when that won. And I don't know, it's a political documentary that's fairly easy to digest compared to some of the other ones. And I don't know. I mean, I personally would vote for All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, but I think it's going to be Navalny.
Man, I wish it was Fire of Love, because I just love that movie so much. And it was looking like it early on. Critics' Choice. That's the curse now, I guess, is that if you win Critics' Choice, you can't. The only thing is you need to have Questlove behind you.
Yeah, he really escaped that, and they went right back to it.
Yeah, hopefully they hand out the award this year and there's no controversy. But nobody makes a Netflix special about it or anything. But anyway, I think Navalny just has felt like the winner from the beginning. It really has, because it's topical and they love doing that. They really do, especially when it goes to just everybody. They're like, what's the most important thing? What's the best way to pat ourselves on the back? And it's this. And I agree, Erik, wouldn't be my winner. Clearly that would be either Fire of Love or All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. That's another film that they could clearly go with if they want to go topical as well. But there just hasn't felt like the push to award it from the industry, and it doesn't have I think that PGA win was a big sign for it, for Navalny. So I'm going to go with that. I think it could be close. I would not be surprised if an upset. Like these are really good films in this category. Opposite Navalny, that could do that. All That Breathes has been man, that movie's been just pushed everywhere. Can't stop seeing ads and Q&As and screenings and everything for that movie. I would not be surprised with that one too. And then there's A House Made of Splinters. Anyway, best adapted screenplay. Let's go back to that one because I screwed that one up earlier. All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, Living, Top Gun Maverick, and Women Talking. Sophia, what's winning?
So Women Talking just won the WGA, and that is great. Like, that's a good sign, right? Scripter and WGA, having both of those, like, that's a big sign, I think, of support in the category. However, I'm going with All Quiet on the Western Front. I feel like this is something where it winning BAFTA in so many places showed its strength with international voters, with a block that is going to vote here. And I think if we're thinking of adaptations, this is one where a lot of people probably had to read All Quiet on the Western Front or are familiar with this being a literary adaptation and a feat of adaptation. Not that that matters to this group always. I mean, Drive My Car did not win here. So it's not that that sometimes is what they're thinking about, but I don't know. I feel like I'm having a hard time gambling on Women Talking when All Quiet on the Western Front is so strong. Even though Women Talking is being pushed here specifically, I think, as its place to win. People are talking about it being like the best screenplay of the year, and it's winning these writing prizes. And that matters. So I think it is close, but I'm giving the edge to All Quiet on the Western Front, just with overall support.
Erik?
I think when Women Talking got the SAG cast nomination and got the Best Picture nomination, that was, even before a handful of these awards, that was enough for me to think that it was going to get pushed over the top. And I know the thought and drive behind All Quiet winning makes a lot of sense, and I totally understand why. And it won BAFTA, where Women Talking, that's the only place it didn't show up. It's gotten in everywhere. It was the only adapted screenplay at the Globes, but it missed BAFTA. Weird, just weirdness among the weirdness of this whole season. I am sticking with Women Talking to win. I think, despite the poor performance of the film in virtually every other regard and aspect, the last couple of weeks have been pretty good for it, but it's going to be very close. I think it's very close between those two. If Women Talking had not gotten in Best Picture, I would blank it. I would say no, but it's enough to keep it there for me as the winner. But I think it's super close.
Yeah, I'm with you, Erik, because I feel the same. It's so close. I have to be the tiebreaker here. Oh man.
Go with Erik.
go with Erik, so then I screw up my predictions as well.
No. I just mean that would maybe make me change mine to what I would prefer to win in this category.
I mean, honestly, when we saw PGA happen, we all thought it was. I mean, Erik was like jumping for joy that it was going to be the Whale, and then that didn't. And then I thought throughout the season that was. Well, we kind of thought throughout the season that was going to be the that, and She Said was going to be the two films that were going to go up against Women Talking. And that's the other thing too, is like they've had this category in the bag for a long, long time. Women Talking. It really has felt like that. And even when it's missed places, we're like, oh, okay, well, it's still got adapted screenplay, so it's fine. And that BAFTA win was interesting, but also too, it won pretty much every award at BAFTA. It won an award that it can't even win here, which was director. All Quiet on the Western Front. It is an adaptation of a very beloved book. It is a book that's been remade many, many times, and it's very specific, and it's very
it hasn't been remade that many times or adapted.
Yeah, it has. Like
no, not really.
2 or 3 times is a lot. There's TV adaptations as well, not just film adaptations.
And this is the first German adaptation, which I think is big and significant that they're pushing that.
It's really very personal. It's a very personal adaptation, not just for Berger and company, but for the country. But I mean, but you're also talking about one of the best screenplays of the year, for Sarah Polley, and a screenplay that's been nominated a bunch of places.
Actually, I believe the quote is the best screenplay of the year if you go back and look at the FYC ad.
I wonder who said that.
I don't know. It doesn't say.
No, does it say a site? Does it say a website?
Yeah, mine.
Oh, okay. All right. But who wrote that?
It doesn't matter.
It does. I think it kind of does. Otherwise, I don't know. We'll talk about that off air. I think might need to be some restitution or something for that. I don't know. But no, yes, it is. And I'm stalling because I'm trying to figure out what I want to do.
Yeah, you are.
I really am.
Just vamping a little bit. It's okay.
Fuck it. I'm just going to go with women talking. It just makes sense. Eric's absolutely right. Getting in SAG, that means that the actors are at least somewhat behind it enough to support it. It's also too, I know that they don't think about this, but female director, female writer, not having a all male lineup might make them feel a little bit better about themselves if they vote for her. I hate when people say that and do that, but it's the truth. But it's also a really good screenplay. It's also the best thing about the film too. And yeah, it's had a really, Scripter is really great. Scripter and WGA, that's pretty good. We've had splits over the last couple of years too when it comes to that. And I think any other film over those past couple of years, if it had Scripter and it had WGA behind it, I think we wouldn't toss our hair so much about it. But yeah, that All Quiet BAFTA win just it irks me.
This is one where I might, make a last minute change depending on how I'm feeling, because
doing those hurt though.
I know. It's just women talking is doing a really strong push right now. What they can do right now in voting is working, I think, or at least I hope. But like Frances McDormand campaigning, like, please, maybe her magic is working here, but yeah, I do think it is. At least now it's way more formidable than I thought it would be here, for sure. Which is why I'm definitely considering it a toss up, and we'll come back to it for sure.
Yeah. Plus, also too, I think having Erik, you were there yesterday, winning the Altman Award and having that visibility, I think too, is something also that once again, All Quiet on the Western Front does not have. And they've had that. And that's what, some people, and also too, Erik, you made a good mention. I think it was in this piece, or maybe it was another piece. So I'm, and it proves that I do read Erik's work. Our over-reliance to over-reward Netflix over the last couple of years has come back to bite us many times in predicting things. And they are going to win, I think, a good amount of awards, but I just don't think they're going to win everything. And I think that this is a good place this is the only place outside of picture you can reward women talking. And so that's another thing too. It's like, okay, you guys are going to win stuff, but you're not going to win everything. You're not going to pull BAFTA again, which, that's where I think women talking comes into play. So.
No, it's not really it's not gonna be like that.
No. But like I'm saying is that I have it winning a bunch of texts, Sophia, and you have it winning a bunch of texts. So then if it wins, if it wins adapted screenplay, then everybody's going to sit there on an Oscar like, is it doing the MAFTA thing again?
Yeah. Yeah, people, as the show goes on, people would be like, well, wait a minute, maybe it's winning Best Picture.
Yeah, and then
you'll see those tweets if it starts knocking down text and adapted screenplay.
Yeah. Which will be early probably in the telecast.
I think. Well, that's what's kind of a weird thing is that I think a win in adapted screenplay for All Quiet here over Women Talking, which only has one other category, which it's not going to win. Yeah, sort of feels like a momentum moment idea, but I can't see.
It would have to win everything. It couldn't fumble the bag. I think it kind of has to. It kind of has to do what it did at BAFTA. It has to overperform, which in this case, there's no room for error against everything everywhere all at once. It's like playing the Golden State Warriors in their prime. You got no off nights.
Sure, but there
are play perfect
categories where they're not competing against each other, and so they won't have to.
Yeah,
it won't be perceived as overperformance if they win in categories that it's not up against them.
No, true.
And that would be kind of great, actually, if almost everything was split just between those two
films, and then we get down to the final vote.
It's so I was thinking about my predictions. I was like, that's kind of what's going on here.
Yeah,
it's wild. For Netflix Oscar year. Oh no!
No!
Terrible!
Oh my god! Sorry, Top Gun. All right. Best original screenplay. The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness. It comes down to this. I know this was the one that a lot of people have been. We'll discuss it. Erik, what do you have winning Best Original Screenplay?
I'm not going first.
Okay. Sophia, what would you like to say about
first for the last one?
Erik, what would you like to say about Best Original Screenplay?
Okay. I'll go first.
I
think I'll go first.
If you want me to go
ahead.
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to say it because everybody's gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs the last couple of weeks. Even if Everything Everywhere All at Once wins today, which it most likely will, it will not have beat Banshees head to head in that matchup for WGA. I understand that BAFTA is like a home turf advantage for the Banshees of Inisherin, but that's still once again a very big voting block. And it's a great place to award Martin McDonagh. And the thing about that film is it had a ton of nominations. We've gone so far without not even mentioning it outside of in live action short film today. And the thing about that is that I think that throughout critics' prizes and everything throughout this season, Everything Everywhere All at Once has won across the board. Except in original screenplay. People have still rewarded Martin McDonagh for this screenplay here. I think that has been the recipe pretty much everywhere. It feels like he's got the BAFTA win. He has that at Globe. He doesn't have Critics' Choice, obviously. But I think that the Banshees of it, and also it's the reason why, and I know this is going to hurt Sophia's feelings. It is ultimately the reason why at the last second last year, I ended up picking Kenneth Branagh for Belfast. I couldn't imagine a world where that person who had been everywhere and he had to sit on a damn couch with Taylor Swift and everything this year. I don't see a world where Martin McDonagh for this film, a much more beloved film, not divisive film like Three Billboards was, without winning an Oscar this year. And so ultimately, I am giving him this award, and I think the Academy will as well. He's going to win Best Original Screenplay. Banshees is not going home empty-handed.
You don't have that power.
I have all the power. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be Banshees. Sophia, you want to go?
Well, because you mentioned my pain specifically, that's the reason why I'm not picking Banshees here, the movie that I like a lot in this category, and I think it's a superb screenplay. I really think the characters are so well written. I love it so much, but I feel like it's not a perfect comparison because he really faded fast for me, but I'm coming back to the Birdman Boyhood year where Birdman just somehow got all three of those big ones. And I know there were split precursors and everything like that. And it wasn't, and Linklater wasn't really, up for the challenge. I just picked him because I wanted him. But I don't know. I'm picking Everything Everywhere All at Once because I feel like it fits the mold for an original screenplay winner. Belfast did not last year, but I think with Belfast, there was a weird thing going on with Worst Person in the World coming into the mix and Licorice Pizza and Don't Look Up. It was just a weird group.
And Richard of It All too. Yeah. It
Yeah.
was
And
weird other four competitors. Yeah.
Right. And when I think of original screenplay, a lot of times they go with the idea that feels the most original. And for this group, I think that's Everything Everywhere All at Once. And
I agree.
while I don't think this screenplay is the strongest element of the film, and I would pick Tar or Banshees personally, I think that this is a place where we're going to see the overwhelming support for that movie. I don't think it's locked or a race that isn't close. I think it's very really close.
Yeah.
And if Banshees does pull it out, I won't be shocked at all. Like it feels like that win makes sense too, especially for Martin McDonagh. I think he's always been the type of filmmaker too, who we think of him as a writer as well, and a really strong writer and someone who can win here. So I like the possibility of that happening. I just right now, I think I'm thinking of the strength of Everything Everywhere and it coming up here.
Erik?
Yeah. This is not that it's a directly connected category, but it is a little bit to me, the way that makeup and actor were, because you have Carrie Condon in supporting actress who could possibly win if she or like Angela Bassett do, and they're the only winners from their movie, then they keep that 8-year streak going of supporting actress being the only winner from their movie, which would mean that Banshees loses here and Everything Everywhere wins, which is it's going to win the Writers Guild because it's not going up against Banshees. It's lost twice going up against Banshees. But yeah, everything about Everything Everywhere it's so easily to subvert so many of but this and but this. And I do think that this is a place that it can do it again. So I do think it is going to win here, but Banshees makes perfect sense as a original screenplay winner, like absurdly.
It's also a fantastic screenplay as well. They're both two great. I mean, that's the thing. We're going to start talking about these last couple categories and everything. There's so many great options. And it really has come down to, it's like what we talked about before with production design. There's two great teams behind that. It's going to be a shame to see somebody go home empty-handed. I'm not saying that people think about, I mean, because clearly it's being shown right now that people are just voting down the line with Everything Everywhere All at Once and not considering other things. But we're also talking about one is SAG and the other one's the Film Twitter Awards. So it's not like it's not like it's not like it was BAFTA, because BAFTA clearly didn't vote down the line for one film either. And Critics' Choice didn't. No, they voted for they went back and forth between Elvis won a bunch and Banshees won a bunch and All Quiet on the Western Front won a ton. So
won 7.
Yeah, and Banshees won 4. It's not like that's far off. Elvis won what, 3?
Yeah.
So it's like
I'm wondering if
spread the wealth more than something winning 7 out of like what, 10 awards. Like, come on.
I'm so stuck on BAFTA still. Like, I know I've been predicting Everything Everywhere in a lot of categories, but there is something still that's really weird to me about Everything Everywhere only getting one win there.
Yeah.
I don't know how to make sense of it. I don't know what it means, but this is a group, like this is the biggest overlap with the Academy. So this is like a category where I think we're going to see
Who has
what
the
that all
power?
means.
Yeah. Who has the shift? And also too, that was 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Did Everything Everywhere All at Once do enough? I mean, it's done a lot. Did it do enough to sway all those voters to get over? Or is there a lot of crossover between those BAFTA voters and SAG voters enough to flip votes and what I'm trying to say? Like, to try to have people go, well, you know what, maybe it should be Everything Everywhere All at Once and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because there's obviously people in probably both of those organizations, but
You lost me.
what I'm saying is that were there enough people that saw BAFTA, that were in BAFTA, and then they voted for SAG, and then maybe that was the thing, is that right as we were talking about, oh well, is this going to change the race for Banshees? Was there enough of maybe a surge with SAG to say, oh, Everything Everywhere is not doing so well, we need to vote for this film to push it over the top, and then that awarded it its sweep and everything there. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, also I'll just say that 6,500 members of the 9,000 members.
I think that is
at BAFTA.
You need more hands for the amount of reaching you're doing.
It's not reaching to suggest. I mean, Sophia is absolutely right. SAG has less of a reach of amount of voters in the Academy than BAFTA, and they went head to head in this category. Regardless, how do you know that they went head to head in this category?
No, how do you know that they have more?
That BAFTA has more members
that there's more crossover at SAG, BAFTA, or PGA with Academy. How do you know that?
It's because it's
I really just thought that there
it's been well documented,
like
hasn't it?
An overlap with a great overlap with BAFTA. Well, I mean, there's a great overlap with SAG and PGA too. Like the guilds, those are major guilds, and DGA. Yeah, I just think it's just a weird thing when like all of the guilds went with Everything Everywhere, and then this group didn't. I mean, they love World War I, obviously. Like they can't get enough of a war film. I just am wondering like if that's going to translate anywhere or if it just doesn't matter. That's the thing I'm just curious about where it'll come up if it does.
That's all I'm saying. Sophia just said it way better than I did. It's like, are they going to?
That was succinct.
I tried.
Sorry,
I think Banshees is winning this category. I think Banshees is winning this category. Somebody's still on jet lag, and I think that I don't think that it's going to be a sweep because I mean, Sophia, you make the great point earlier. How was editing the only win at BAFTA for Everything Everywhere All at Once? It was nominated a ton at BAFTA. Let's not say that it wasn't like nominated for 2 awards.
And like that category I would never pick as the
lone winner. Right? We all thought it would be Key. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I mean, obviously, you guys are right. It could totally go along the ride of just we're gonna think it's you're just sweeping. You know what I mean? It just sweeps, and we go from there. So, all right. Well, that's original screenplay, so we'll just leave that alone. We'll jump right into Best Director. The Daniels, Todd Field, Steven Spielberg, Ruben Östlund, and Martin McDonagh. Those are our nominees. But guys, clearly it's going to be the Daniels, correct? Anybody else have anybody other than the Daniels? This is where
Steven Spielberg can still win.
Don't do that. Don't. You're petting.
You're making him the Carey Mulligan of
Don't-
the season.
don't-
He almost won DGA because he was there, right? So yeah,
Erik, don't be an ass. Don't be rude. It really, somebody, I saw it was on Twitter today, or somebody was saying, I thought it was, I kind of laughed about it.
I'm mean and rude. That's all right.
Well, that's every day. But no, it was about like the fact that like Spielberg makes a movie like this and he gets nominated, and the fact that like he really didn't get, outside of Globes, he really didn't win a lot this season. And the fact that if this was maybe any other director that bared their heart and soul out of something like that, then maybe they would have. And are we taking him for granted? And I laughed at him like, it's Steven Spielberg. What the hell are you talking about? Like, he's gonna be fine. He's making his next movie. He's making Bullet with Bradley Cooper.
According to Deadline.
Okay, evidently. He doesn't know what it is. But it's very, this will be historic. I mean, it'll be the third duo to win. First time a duo has won since the Coen brothers, right, Erik?
That is correct.
Okay. I never would have thought that start of the season that the Daniels would be winning director, but they're our winner. Because also BAFTA didn't help at all with this category, and gave it to somebody that was not even nominated. So, all right,
which helps every actual Oscar nominee.
Yeah,
that they lost to someone that's not here.
Yeah. Best supporting actor. Does anybody else have Ki Kwan or not have Ki Kwan? Anybody pulling a BAFTA? No. Okay.
No.
Congratulations, Ki Kwan, on his win. Best supporting actress.
I hate that we have to just run through all of these
I know
overwhelming favorites but I get it.
I mean, do you want a 4-hour show?
No.
Okay. You always get on me for length, and then I say these things, and then it's a very historic win. It's a monumental win. I will say this about Ki Kwan. If you before he wins this Oscar, go to awardswatch.com, read Kevin Lee's interview with Ki Kwan. It's a fantastic interview, a fantastic piece. One of the proudest things that we've ever been of on this website. And so that's what I'll say in terms of predictions. Go read that wonderful, wonderful speech. Right, Erik?
Absolutely.
You tell me to vamp, now you're like, shut up and move on to supporting actress. That's what it feels like. I can't win with you today. Ridiculous.
I second that.
Yeah.
Not that you can't win today, that you should read Kevin's interview.
Yeah. Erik's like, yeah, I guess so. Move it along. So rude. All right. Best support,
Ryan, but this is just too fun.
Best supporting actress. Angela Bassett for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Hong Chow for The Whale. Stephanie Hsu for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Carrie with a K for Not With Us C for The Banshees of Inisherin. Sophia, who's winning Best Supporting Actress? Sorry, I wanted to do it, and I'm gonna do it.
This category is as chaotic as Ariana DeBose's wonderful, wonderful performance.
Well, the real question I should have asked you to start this, Sophia, is, Sophia, will in fact Angela Bassett do the thing come Oscar night?
I do not think so, because I've selected Carrie with a K.
Oh, there we go.
I'm going with Carrie Condon because in many ways, this just makes sense for the win for Banshees.
Yeah.
She has the BAFTA. And earlier in the season, and I talked about this, I think here and on my show, and I know with you directly, Ryan, but I always had this idea that this year could be something like Sylvester Stallone and Mark Rylance, where you have someone who is a veteran, who's never won before, who's in a sequel directed by Ryan Coogler, who doesn't end up winning the Oscar at the end of the day. But then I thought, no, maybe things can be different this year because we have, SAG. Angela Bassett has to win SAG, but she didn't. And that felt like a slam dunk for her.
She didn't do the thing.
No,
she didn't.
But when Jamie Lee Curtis won SAG, that also felt right. It's like, oh, that makes perfect sense that they love their veterans. They love people who, she's been campaigning. She has been doing so much for that movie. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense if they love the movie that they would go for her. Someone who's been working in the industry for a really long time in film and in television. And I feel like now that we're here and Banshees has a lot of support, not necessarily in wins where we maybe expected it earlier. I just feel like Carrie Condon has the edge compared to the other competitors, because I think when Angela didn't win SAG, I had to bump her down to number 3. And that means that it's between Carrie Condon and Jamie Lee Curtis. And I just have a hard time believing that Everything Everywhere All at Once also wins here for that performance specifically. So I'm going with Carrie Condon. I think she's the best performance. She gives the best performance in the group for me. She would get my vote personally. And I think if you really love the movie, this is a great place to reward it.
Erik?
I love this category. I love the chaos of it.
I wish Dolly D was in it.
I wish Dolly D was in it too and winning. And actually just today I started all of my charts and everything that'll be going with
you and your charts,
acting predictions next weekend. And they're really just focused on SAG and BAFTA post 2000, because 2000 was when BAFTA then started happening before the Oscars. Anything before that is really doesn't make a whole lot of sense in terms of trying to do some direct comparisons and looking at, when a year favors the SAG winner, when they favor the BAFTA winner.
It's when they started really mattering both with each other when it came to
even
this,
within there, you start seeing some, a lot of exceptions, like Jennifer Connelly and being nominated in lead at SAG, but winning BAFTA and then winning the Oscar and supporting, and Alicia Vikander the same, but in different bodies. So
you're not mentioning really good performances right here in these comparisons.
That's not what I'm talking about.
I know, I'm kidding.
When we're looking at split years, like this year is extremely split.
I know this hurts.
What looks the most like something that we've seen before, and how does that like really play out? Because outside of 2000, where we had 3 different winners in SAG, BAFTA, and the Oscars, and 2018, when we had 3 different winners at each place, generally we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 instances where the SAG winner prevailed, and 1, 2, 3 where the BAFTA winner prevailed. But one of those is that weird Jennifer Connelly thing. So, and one of them is the Alicia Vikander thing. So you take those out, and they're almost kind of equal. Melissa Leo's Oscar win, she won SAG, but she wasn't nominated at BAFTA. So it's not really equal. So where do you just kind of start micromanaging this a little bit? And I've kind of come to this year feeling like 2007. And Ruby Dee winning SAG, Tilda Swinton winning the Oscar in a film that was extremely well received, nominated, and respected. And she pulled it out as the sole win for the film. And if I'm predicting Everything Everywhere All at Once to win original screenplay, then I have to predict Carrie Condon to keep the 8-year streak going and win here.
And 2007 has a year with a duo director pair winning picture, director, and screenplay.
It was a very interesting connection.
I would like 2007 to be brought up in another conversation that we're having later, but I know that it probably won't. Because that was we're talking about like the best performance of the year winning, but that's beside the point. I agree with Sophia on when Angela Bassett didn't do the thing at SAG. Because I mean, BAFTA, that was not surprising. But at SAG, I was surprised for Jamie Lee Curtis.
It was wild.
Even if it was Jamie Lee Curtis, I was still surprised about that. I don't think Angela Bassett is 3. I think she's 4. I think there's not a world where you couldn't put Stephanie Hsu ahead of her. And so I think she's 3. And I think it is between Carrie Condon and Jamie Lee Curtis. And the reason why I say that about Stephanie Hsu and she hasn't won a single thing is because that movie is just, it's showing proof right now. The movie is a sweeper. It's a Best Picture nominee. Best Picture, she's got a Best Picture nomination with her performance. Hong Chow and Angela Bassett do not. And usually when you start picking these apart, that usually starts mattering a lot more. Now, I did go out and predict the Banshees of Inisherin to win an original screenplay. And so, yeah, it wouldn't work for Erik's pick of Carrie Condon because then she would break the streak, right? Which is totally feasible because that's a coin toss category. I just don't see a world where this movie wins 3 acting categories. It's going to win a lot. The 3 acting categories, especially for Jamie Lee Curtis, would be wild.
But it's not that wild. I will say though, like, so I won't call them out directly on my podcast on this, but I have family members predicting Jamie Lee Curtis in this category because of not just like how it has nothing to do with her performance in the movie.
It's about her.
Everything to do with how she is outside of the film and her speech at SAG and how she has been just out there as a person who wants this award. And sometimes, I don't know, like sometimes that can push you over. I mean, I don't think it would be the craziest thing in the world for her to win. It would be crazy that a character named Deirdre Beaubierdre would win supporting actress, yes, but
that name,
it would not, I don't know. It wouldn't shock me as much as like Hong Chow winning or even Stephanie Hsu.
No. One interesting thing about this year too is that this is the only acting category where SAG translated directly 5 for 5 over to the Oscar nominees.
Yeah.
It's not that it's rare, but when this has happened in the past, all but one time the SAG winner wins. The only time it hasn't happened was when Kathy Bates won SAG and Judi Dench won the Oscar. Just something to think about.
God damn you. This is what you did last week.
I know.
Son of a bitch. Or 2 weeks ago when we were predicting SAG. And then I ended up switching to that and then it worked out. Can't believe I'm going to say this. All right.
You're doing it.
It's going to be wild. I am going to predict Jamie Lee Curtis to win Best Supporting. Good Lord, I can't believe I'm saying this out of my mouth. Jamie Lee Curtis to win Best Supporting Actress at the Academy Awards.
At the Activia Award.
Exactly. I mean, honestly, I know you both are picking Carrie, but and I love that performance to pieces. But she doesn't have the name brand recognition of somebody like Jamie Lee Curtis, or the passion that film has had. And Jamie Lee Curtis got a standing ovation at SAG too. And BAFTA couldn't even get Carrie Condon's name correct. I mean, like they it did.
They like it. Gloria Stewart has a SAG award.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. No, she's very funny, and she's just it goes back to the other thing too, of like all season long I kind of thought, when people were talking about, oh, Stephanie Hsu will get in, and I didn't believe it. I was like, no, they're gonna go with Jamie Lee Curtis, because it's so lazy of the Academy to go with the white actress in this category instead of the Asian actress. And then I was so happy that they nominated both of them.
Hey, it's not a Spike Lee film.
That's fair. That's true. Because it's much more celebrated than a Spike Lee film. But tell me I'm wrong. Do the right thing. How many nominations does that get? Thank you very much. So I can't believe you're right. Deirdre Beaupierre is gonna win. Oh my god. All right. I'm going with Jamie Lee Curtis. All right. Best actor.
Wow.
We have Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, and Bill Nighy for Living, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, and we love you, Paul Mescal, if you're still listening, for After Sun. All right,
Probably
Erik.
Not if you can't pronounce his name right.
Well, why don't you go predict him then?
He's not mezcal. He's not fake tequila.
Paul Mescal.
It's just
that's
mescal.
what always trips me up.
It trips me up.
Just
mescal.
Like mescaline.
Okay. Well, what a reference.
Like
anyway, yeah. Why don't you go predict him?
I no.
Wow. Some friend you are. All right. Who are you predicting to win this category?
This isn't RuPaul's friend race.
Erik, it's your turn.
Is it me?
Yeah, it's you.
You kicked it to me.
Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, in picking Elvis as my makeup and hairstyling winner, I am going with
Bill Nighy
winner Austin Butler. I want to say Austin Powers every time I say his name. I don't know why. I think people are kind of weirded out that he's young, but they think that he's younger than he is. He is 31. He's not 21. But I think people, for some reason, feel like he's too young. He'll have more of a chance. It's like, that is not really a train of thought that voters have. And we have seen clear evidence to the opposite. He will be, at least based on what my predictions are, the only person playing a real person of the four winners. That's still important to voters. That's something that is demonstrable that we can see pretty consistently. But at the same time, this is such a wild and exceptional year too, of more first-time nominees than like we've ever seen since the beginning era of the Oscars. 16 of 20. Cate Blanchett is the only returning winner. This is a really, really new era this year, and it's exciting. I love it. I think Butler is stunning in Elvis, and it might not be my favorite performance in this category, but I won't hate this win if he wins. But Brendan Fraser could also win too.
Sophia.
Yeah.
I also have Austin Butler. I think that the BAFTA win, like, that was really big for him to get that. I assumed that would go to Colin Farrell, and he snagged that. I think his movie has so much support also compared to his biggest competitor, Brendan Fraser, for The Whale. If The Whale made it into picture or screenplay, I would be thinking about this totally differently, because I also think that performance is catnip for voters. But these people probably also want to vote for Elvis and the Presley family. Like, a vote for Austin is also a vote for a person who they might love, or that their family might love, or that they grew up with. And they like doing that, and they've liked doing that for years. So I just feel like the musical biopic of it all, plus a strong performance in a strong movie and the makeup win, it makes sense. I have to say, though, this category, way stronger than normal. Like, Best Actor usually is such a flop for me, and I genuinely think we have great performances here.
Yeah.
First time that we've had all first timers since like 1934.
Yeah.
That should kind of tell you something. I think that what that tells you is obviously not that we're past rubber stamping performers getting in all the time, but it does mean that people are seeing things outside of what they are familiar with.
Well, I mean,
always a good thing.
It also does help
There's no Tom Cruise here. There's no Hugh Jackman. It's a good thing.
It also helps when a movie from Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio in the lead moves to another year. It does. Be honest. If that movie came out,
we could have all veterans again, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Next year is going to be the opposite of this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's like, Bill Nye and Paul probably be duking it out for the last spot if Leo was here. That's what I'm trying to say, because that's a rubber stamp, that you're mentioning, Erik. I know he's not. I'm just saying is that it's a good. I agree with you. It's a good thing. God damn it. Not at everything Sophia says and put up a fight with me and everything I'm going to say tonight.
Yeah, next year we're going to have Bradley Cooper, Leonardo DiCaprio, and
I'm not calling Bradley Cooper's nomination. I can't buy that yet.
Joaquin Phoenix and all of these people, and it's just like, where's the newcomers?
Yeah, I can't.
I don't know. The idea of Leo getting his second is exciting, but I'm definitely in the minority for that. I feel like people are like, make him wait, but I'm very excited for him for next year. Can you tell I'm done with this season?
I love this.
She's already thinking of the mountains of Telluride.
I like this season too. I'm just already thinking.
We have 1 week and then it's over. And that's how long the rest of the show is going to be, 1 week. No, I agree. I think it's Austin Butler. It's very close. It's been a season of narratives. It's been a season of momentum, and it's gone back and forth. And obviously, Brendan won SAG, and that was a big speech. And I kind of thought all season that it was going to be Colin at BAFTA and Austin at SAG, and that kind of felt right. And then it kind of got flipped, and also too, like the 4 SAG winners were different than the 4 BAFTA winners. So is there going to be a split there? Is there going to be a one-off and SAG carries the rest? We'll see. And I think that this is one where it carries off, because what we've seen in recent memory too over the last couple of years is that Best Picture nomination. It's something that hurt somebody like Chadwick Boseman a couple of years ago, when The Father won. It helped Rami Malek. It helped Casey Affleck. It helped Gary Oldman. It helped Will Smith last year over somebody like Andrew Garfield. And so I'm going with the Best Picture nominee, and that's Austin Butler. I'm so sad that it's not Colin. And I think I just have maybe a love for the third place winner or the third place nominee every single year, because I had the same thing for Benedict last year, and so and also for Stephen Yeun the year before. So so Austin Butler across the board. Now I'm going to do something different. Best Picture of the Year. Does anybody have anything other than Everything Everywhere All at Once?
No.
Are we sure it's not Top Gun?
Hold my hand if it is.
No, it's Everything Everywhere All at Once.
There's going to be people predicting that.
Well, there will be people also predicting All Quiet on the Western Front. There'll still be people trying to pick
it's number
Banshees.
2 for a lot of people now. They've really kind of grabbed on.
But it's our new Best Picture winner. It's going to be a good winner. It's a hell of a lot better than last year. You know what I mean? So, yeah. All right. Final award of the night. And I think it's because it's going to be maybe the longest conversation we have. Best Actress of the Year. The nominees are Cate Blanchett for Tar, Ana de Armas for Blonde, everyone's favorite performance, Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, Michelle Williams for The Fablemans, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Sophia, I'm going to you first. Who is winning Best Actress?
You know, as one of the leaders of Tar Nation, everything related to Tar, I love Cate Blanchett's performance so much. It's my favorite performance I've seen on screen in years. I adore it. I love it so much. And I apologize to all of the listeners. I'm going to use a sports reference. When I'm watching my beloved Ohio State Buckeyes play football, or a team that I like play any sport, there is something that happens called momentum. And when that shifts and when that happens and you notice it, you know how things are going to turn out. And sometimes, despite everything else that you might know, or other things that might be getting in the way with statistics and other feelings that you had earlier in the year, you just have to look at the race and say, it's different than I thought it was before. Yep. And I'm predicting Michelle Yeoh. This is a new prediction for me. I've been predicting Cate for the longest time, and I genuinely do believe that either one would be a fantastic winner. One of the best winners we've ever had in the category. Either one. It's a shame that they have to compete to get against each other in a year when we've had, in past years where we've had many, I think, dud performances win.
Yeah, look at last year.
But it's also, but it's also exciting though that we have a year where either performance that wins will genuinely be great. That is something we can't always say in this category. But I think SAG coming after BAFTA, seeing the love for Michelle Yeoh in that room, the standing ovations, the fact that I think Cate Blanchett probably voted for Michelle Yeoh to win too.
No.
It just feels like it's her moment. As much as, again, like, I love the idea of Cate winning her third for Tar, a performance and a film that I think is perfect from top to bottom. I think it's going to be Michelle Yeoh, and it's going to be an historic win, and I'm going to cry. But I think that's what's going to happen. At least that's where I am today. That could maybe change, but I think because SAG came after BAFTA this year, and it just feels like the momentum is with her and it's with that movie. So that's where I'm going.
Erik?
I sounded solemn about that. I'm not solemn.
It sounded like yeah.
I'm just thinking it's a lot.
No, it is.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. This is a very complicated race. I mean, it's also been really nasty online. It always seems to always be nasty when it's dealing with actresses. And
it's always the women.
And yet I want to just say this real quick before I get to you, Erik. I want everyone online to look at these two actresses and how they have embraced each other throughout this entire season and rethink.
Quite literally.
And literally, they were hugging each other, couldn't take their hands off of each other yesterday on the red carpet for the SAG or for the Spirit Awards. And I want everybody to think either one of these two have immense respect for one another. And it is a long, long journey. And it's been a long journey for us, let alone for them, flying around the country, around the world to support their films. Michelle for literally an entire year. And I want everybody to kind of think about, like, maybe when this is all said and done, how we root and treat them because they have treated each other with nothing but respect and class. And I have so much respect for Michelle Yeoh and so much respect for Cate Blanchett and the way that they have handled this horse race more than anybody I've seen in many, many years. Many years. And I would also say that Variety 45-minute talk that they had early in the season was impeccable and said everything that you had to know about those two and what they think about each other and how much they love each other so much. You can tell the love and respect is there. So with that said, Erik, Best Actress.
Well, I just wanted to follow up to your point there, in that people that are very terminally online and are not in any way like have visibility to how the races are and how the nominees interact with each other and feel about each other. By and large, there is nothing but respect for most of these people that are on this circuit together all the time. And people want and need it to be something other than it is. Need it to be combative and a fight and a battle to, fit the narrative of their predictions and the things that they want to talk about. But the reality is that it is so rarely ever that. And I wish people knew and acknowledged that more, but it would certainly make really horrible takes less likely. And I don't think we're in any shortage of that in the near future.
I think that the trying to dissect both of them to the point in which you are calling people racist or calling people this or calling people that and hitting so many extremes. It's like, case in point is just look at them. They're not doing that. So we don't have to do that. And we here haven't done that. Nobody that we know has done that, but you just see it online a lot. And I think that they have shown exactly how you're supposed to handle a very tight Best Actress race in a year in which both of these performances are, quite honestly, the two most celebrated performances of the year. From up there with Key and Colin Farrell and Austin Butler and everybody else. They are the two most celebrated performances of the year, period. Erik, with that said, who are you picking?
Well, I mean, I'll echo pretty much most of what Sophia said. I'm obsessed with Blanchett's performance in Tar. It's just kind of just working on a different level than I think any normal human is. It's just somewhere else. I think what Yeoh does in her, Yeoh is often, and I don't mean this in a bad way, better than the movie is with her. I think sometimes the movie is so concerned with its own momentum and editing and moving around that she takes, whether it's a half a second or an uncut moment of 30 seconds or more, and does more with that than sometimes she's even given with the film itself. And I love the movie. I totally agree that the momentum shifted dramatically at SAG, and not everybody's does. Doesn't mean that Brendan Fraser's momentum shifted. Not everybody's story is equal. Not everybody's race is equal or the same. But Blanchett and Yeoh just went side by side with, critics wins all season long. So this isn't some kind of thing where Yeoh just kind of snuck up at the end of the race here. They've been right alongside each other the entire time. I am predicting Yeoh to win. I do think that the Academy and voters, not as a monolith, but individually, that becomes quite powerful, that they do see and they do know and they understand precedent and history and the power of a vote. They don't always do it, but they do know it. And I think when they know it. And I think there is a compelling feeling to vote for Yo. I think it feels very groundswell. It feels more organic than a lot of like awards campaigns can feel.
Yeah.
Because everything has been about these moments and the year-long journey of this movie. We're in the first week of March. This movie premiered a year ago.
I was there.
It was done a year and a half,
2 years ago.
before that.
Yeah.
So everybody in this has been with this movie for a long fucking time.
Yeah.
And their excitement, enjoyment, celebration of it is the same. I feel like Yo has like I said, a groundswell behind her, a support behind her that even when I start, I mean, like I said, I have my chart. I'm looking right in front of me now of, when someone dominates, which is quite a lot in this category. This is not a scattered category the way that it is with supporting actress. You've got pretty clear lines and distinctions of since 2000 of how things go.
Mm-hmm.
And when and where it's split and who is favored. Is it BAFTA that favors the winner, or is it SAG that does? And I think a lot of people will grab onto Olivia Colman as their reason for like picking Blanchett because it was such a big upset over Glenn Close. And I totally get that. I totally understand it. Not the same situation, and it shouldn't be really treated as the same situation.
Nope.
You're talking about a movie with 11 Oscar nominations
to 1
with a lead that is also irreplaceable. I don't see anybody else playing Evelyn. Just as much as I don't see anybody else playing Lydia Tarr.
No.
And it's compelling. Her story is compelling. Everything about her performance and history is compelling.
Yeah. So. This is the thing I tell people all the time when we do awards predicting, prognosticating, when we do our job here, Erik and Sophia, is you have to be able to separate the personal from your predictions. You have to be able to set aside what you personally want to happen and what you personally love and look at the race, look at what's going on, look at the momentum, and understand the moment. Some people don't do that. Some people predict Top Gun Maverick to win Best Picture all the way until the end of time. Some people predict Angela Bassett to win and then they renege on that final prediction. Okay? We don't do that here. All right? We pick what we believe will happen. And as of 2 weeks ago on this podcast, I said that it didn't matter what happened at SAG. Cate Blanchett was still going to win the Oscar. And I am here today to say that that's not happening anymore. I love Cate Blanchett's performance. It's one of my favorite performances I've seen in the last probably decade. It's one of my favorite actress performances probably of my lifetime. It is something I've never thought in my wildest dreams. And she's given a lot of great performances. I never knew that she had this in her. I was gobsmacked by Tar. It's my favorite film of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That performance is my favorite performance of the year. I remember literally coming down the gondola at Telluride and running to Erik like it was like Mary frickin' Tyler Moore or something. And we were at the focus party there at Telluride, and I was trying to come up with words to describe what this movie felt like. And I love it. And I think that she is fantastic. And I hate, mostly in my life, I hate multiple time winners. I hate like having people have 3, 4, 5 Oscars and somebody sits there and goes home empty handed. And I think if Kate didn't have 2 other Oscars, I think that this might have also, I think it might have helped her narrative. Or if she didn't have Blue Jasmine a couple years ago, where she swept the competition, it was undeniable that year. And she didn't have The Aviator, performance I like, but I know people don't like it. Then maybe. I know, Erik, I know. And so, but I look at Michelle Yeoh and I see these speeches and I see the love in the room. And I think to myself, back to when I predicted Frances McDormand to win for Nomadland. She was the movie. She didn't win BAFTA. Or I mean, I'm sorry, Frances won BAFTA. Michelle didn't win BAFTA, but BAFTA was last that year. It was the last thing on.
We also can't really look at BAFTA for the last 2 years because of the
jury system.
Evil this category gave it. We didn't even have any crossover last year. So.
Well, yeah, no. That's true. But it did help for people to. Yeah. And it was also with Frances. She was part of the film that was the moment. She was a part of the film that had all the momentum. She was part of the film that was winning Best Director and Best Picture easily going into the night. We knew that was going to happen. So we were tossing and turning over who was going to win actress. And I was just sitting there like I was all season going like, yeah, I don't know what you guys are worried about. I think it's just going to be Frances McDormand and she's going to win a third. And she did. And last year was obviously a crazy anomaly, and SAG really helped put Jessica Chastain essentially over the top. Yes. But this movie is the movie of the year. It is. It's not my favorite film of the year, but I know that it is the movie of the year. I was in the room the night that it premiered at South by Southwest last year, and it was like a rock concert. It wasn't like a movie premiere. It was a rock concert. One, because the festival had finally come back after being gone 2 years, but two, it was the power of the movie. You had people on the edge of your seats trying to read about a conversation between two rocks. That says a lot about a movie like that. And it's gone back and forth this year of being the underdog to the favorite to the underdog to the favorite. It is the favorite to win Best Picture. It is the undeniable favorite to win Best Picture. And it's going to carry that. And it's going to be the first winner, Best Picture winner, to have multiple acting prizes go to it since $1 Million Baby. The first time also in our expanded lineup era. And it's going to win a ton. That's why I'm also going to say in the middle of this Best Actress prediction, I'm going to pick Carrie Condon because I don't think that it's going to win 3. So I'm going back on what I said earlier. I'm going to Carrie Condon.
I was just going to ask about this.
Yeah, if it wins 3, then we're talking about network.
Yeah, we're talking network, which I will say everything.
Not impossible.
All at once.
Well, if we're saying anything about network, the performance that's most like Faye Dunaway's is Lydia Tarr. But
would I say that this movie is better than Network? Talk to me on another day. Maybe.
Since in looking at my charts again and all that nonsense, looking since 2000, having the Best Actress winner come from the Best Picture winner, not super common. It's only happened twice since then, and that was just in the last few years. Once Frances McDormand. We're looking at
Emma Stone for 5 minutes.
Sorry, yeah. We're looking at something that is pretty historically and consistently a very male-dominated thing. Best Pictures are male.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean,
so having McDormand's win and in the Best Picture a few years ago was pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Having it happen again will be again
Well, she also didn't have a challenger though that was to the level of Kate.
No, she didn't.
You know what I mean?
It was. I don't want to say she lucked out, but she kind of lucked out that year a little bit in that regard.
That she didn't have like a undeniable second choice.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, not that the voters are a monolith, but they're not probably thinking on the top of their head, oh wow, this is going to be
historic
Best Actress winner from a Best Picture winner.
Yeah.
But when you look at things and when you have history then behind you and you can look at it on a page, then it starts to stand out, and then it starts to tell a story, and hopefully it is a story that is constantly kind of changing and moving and evolving, and not like, wow, we're just kind of lucky that it happened. Hopefully that there is more thought behind that, behind women-led stories that can also win Best Picture.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing I want to also, we're all predicting Michelle, but I do want to play the other side of this because it is a very close race, and Kate could very well win this award. She has Golden Globe, Critics' Choice, and BAFTA. That's a pretty damn good haul to go alongside.
It's good.
And I
normally
know
unbeatable.
That's why it's so crazy. So I want to say something because I talked to somebody today. They couldn't come on the show today, but I talked to our great friend, Mr. Kevin Jacobson of And the Runner Up Is, and he floated out one thing that we could talk about, but also I want to talk about Kate and what it would mean on that side for both of you if that winner happened, but also I guess the ramifications of that, because then Twitter is going to blow up. Kevin said to me, and he wanted this point made, is this the best case for us to finally maybe have another tie in Best Actress?
No.
We don't want to have a tie in this category?
I didn't say that I don't want to. I just don't think it'll happen.
I don't think it'll happen either. And he's predicting Michelle as well. Also, if you want to know, our resident Best Actress guru, Josh Parham, is also predicting Michelle Yeoh. So Josh, I think has been right every single year for like the last 6 or 7 years or something like that. He's like, let's
go with what Josh says.
Yeah, we'll go with Josh says usually when it comes down to this category. But I want to talk about Kate real quick from the both of you, and if she wins, because I feel like, maybe this is just me, I feel like, and I don't think the voters think this, but this is something that could be considered. What it'll say if Kate does win this and Everything Everywhere All at Once does dominate on the night, Kate wins this award. How bad will that look? Will it feel incomplete for Everything Everywhere All at Once then if it doesn't have Michelle at this point? If it's going to win 4 or 5 other Oscars? And what does it mean if Kate wins this? It's an all-time great performance too, but will it be marred a little bit for like the fact that this is the closest we've had in a very long time for a person of color to win this category? I mean, it feels like almost like if she wins, it almost feels like a lose situation for her in a lot of ways. And like you were saying, Sophia, it kind of feels like Kate Blanchett would want to vote for Michelle Yeoh at this point. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do agree with you that it would feel incomplete because, in my opinion, as like a person who didn't love Everything Everywhere All at Once on my first watch and it grew on me on my second watch, Michelle Yeoh was the thing that I loved in the movie. And I think a lot of people too, like Michelle Yeoh is the movie. So if everything else happens for it and she somehow doesn't, I think it does feel really, really sad. Like I would be sad about that. And again, like prefacing everything by saying like I love Tar. I talk about Tar, think about Tar all the time.
Yeah.
But there's something that would feel off, I think, if Michelle didn't win this.
Yeah. Erik, you agree?
I totally agree. And even though we have examples like Meryl Streep and Frances McDormand right in front of us within the last decade of like, we don't give a shit if they've had 2 Oscars. They can have more. And there is, I don't think anybody would argue that Blanchett is not on that level in the industry and in awards.
And not deserving for the performance.
Or deserving. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's there. Yeah. It would be really weird. I think it would be the weirdest of all for Blanchett.
Yeah.
I think she would feel not bad, but I think it would be an awkward moment for her. Go look at her like reactions when other people win things anytime, anywhere.
She's so relieved.
She loves when people win. She is a fantastic supporter of everybody around her in the races.
She's a big cinema lover. She's been on Cannes juries and all this stuff. Yeah.
Fantastic. So in looking at it in one microcosm, I would hate for any negative impact to come upon her if she wins, which I think it will from really just nasty people on the internet.
Yeah, the movie is already getting annoying pushback. Yeah, it will get.
Pieces are in place.
Yeah, the pieces are in place to destroy the movie and her. Yeah,
there are tweets in draft ready to hit send.
And ready to eviscerate the Academy. Yeah.
It's also one of those things where it's like the character Lydia Tarr will be like remembered and celebrated and everything, talked about, an iconic character for forever. I really do believe that, an Oscar or not. So, and it's going to go down as one of the all-time great performances for sure. And the wonderful thing about it is that if she does lose, we are not looking at a situation where Al Pacino lost for playing Michael Corleone to, what's his name? Art Carney for Man and a Cat. Like, it's not a situation like that. It's not. It's a situation where an incredible person and performance is losing to another.
Erik, you could have played that role. Good Lord.
Great
Man and a Cat.
Person. Yeah. Harry and Tonto is the real name, but that's what it is.
No, I agree. And I think that, I mean, it goes back to what we were saying earlier, is that these two have been, I mean, obviously though, it will really hurt a lot of people. And then I know it'll hurt Michelle Yeoh. And I know that she'll get a job and she'll be fine and she'll move on to the next thing. But this is probably, it's one of those, again, we talk about this with many nominees in the past. Cate Blanchett will most likely get nominated again for another Oscar, probably for Best Actress or Best Supporting Actress. Heck, she could probably get nominated next year.
A few more wins in her.
Yeah, she's making an Alfonso Cuarón movie right now. I'm pretty sure she'll be around the block again. I don't know if Michelle Yeoh will be back. I pray that she will. You know what I mean? I hope that the movie, like Everything Everywhere,
different career now than she did
2 years ago. Yeah, no, for sure. But
I think it just would feel so painful for it. The reason why people are attached to this performance for different reasons, obviously. And some of those, I think, they're really personal. But the thing is like, we just don't know when we're going to have another time when someone like Michelle Yeoh gets this close. It's such a long road with so many steps to get there, and this movie and this season already is such an anomaly that I feel like that's why people are so worried that it's not going to happen.
And it would be another indictment on the Academy, and specifically this category with women of color. And it's not let's reward them 20 years at a time, but it's a win that can open up a door for possibilities to happen in this industry. I mean, for Christ's sake, we're coming off of the nominations where Andrea Riseborough kicked out. Well, we don't know if she kicked her out, but I mean, we can assume that she kicked out Viola Davis in that category, someone that has won an Oscar in the past. And that, you know, this category has a lot of bad blood and a lot of bad history. And a win here for Michelle Yeoh does not erase that, but it is a step forward in potentially making this category hopefully look like the other categories with more diverse winners and more opportunities, because that means that maybe those movies and those performances can get looked at. I mean, looking back on I can tell you this, when I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once at South by Southwest, I had no idea this movie was going to do what it did. Nobody did. And if anybody told you that, they're lying, because we were just making sure it was a damn good movie, and it was a fun time. It's carried its momentum. And yeah, it would feel so weird that every single person, it would be like George Miller not winning director, or Wes Anderson not winning an Oscar, when you have the entire teams for these films and all these other actors and everything going up there and saying, this movie wouldn't be made without Michelle Yeoh. And then she doesn't win the Oscar. It would feel so incomplete. And the legacy of this win for Blanchett, I mean, it's a great performance. I love it. Like I said, it probably, in my opinion, is her best performance of her career, but it will be marred by people because people don't forget. People remember great wins, and they also remember losses that burn them so hard. And I just would hate to see that for both sides here. But I think Michelle's going to win this. I think we've given it way too much time. I think Andrea Riseborough totally going to come in. Frances Fisher behind the scenes, right? She's going to do it, Erik? No?
I don't think so.
No,
but I'm sure Halle Berry will enjoy the footnote of her win to go from only woman of color to win Best Actress to being first. I think she will enjoy that. She has lived with this for 21 years as the only, and every time anyone has any conversation with her, that is a focal point, and understandably so. But I think there will be a bit of a weight lifted from her shoulders.
God, I hope so.
To be able to say first and not only.
Yeah, it's a razor thin. Sophia, do you want a final thought on it?
Oh yeah, I just was going to go back to Kevin's question about the tie, which is that I think either you, Erik, or Kevin tweeted that Isabella Rossellini should present Best Actress, and that would be the perfect instance of the tie taking place if we could have mother and daughter announcements for ties.
Yeah.
Kevin tweeted that in answer to my tweet, and I was like, that is so damn cool.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, to be fair, if a tie did happen, really is the best of both worlds. I would love it, because also too, I wouldn't love. I mean, obviously, people would be like, "Why does it have to be a tie or whatever?" I'd be like, "Well, you want to know why? Because how many times have we seen them hug each other and hold each other this year? Wouldn't it be great to have another photo of Michelle Yeoh and Cate Blanchett hugging each other with an Oscar each in each hand? It would be great."
It would, but you also know that people would have a lot to say about a tie like that.
Yeah, they can get over. Yeah, they can get. It doesn't
no
diminish.
Matter what happens.
No matter what happens, someone's going to be happy
after the Oscars.
Yeah, it won't matter, Erik. But honestly, I think it would. I think it would be great. You know what I mean? But I think Michelle's going to win, and it won't matter. So, all right, those are our predictions. It's a long enough episode just with the three of us, and everything. Paul, if you're still listening, we do love you. All right, so. Sophia, can you tell everybody where they can find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Sophia_Sim. You can find my podcast that I host with my friend Nick every week called Oscar Wilde. We release episodes every Friday. Our handle on Twitter and Instagram is at Oscar Wilde Pod. And we wrapped up our contenders series, and we have a final predictions episode also coming out. So if you really want to hear my predictions again, with our guest Joyce Ang from Gold Derby, you can listen there as well. But yeah, it's been a great season. I'm excited for it to be all wrapped up, though, definitely. But it has been fun.
Yeah. Go check out Oscar Wilde. Go follow their Patreon. I love Nick and you, Sophia. And all the work that you guys do over there. And the Patreon stuff, there's like some Bennifer action.
Yeah, Bennifer action. We have a series for them, which is very fun, just due to their wedding, And we have an episode on Jamie Lee Curtis that we just recorded today about Freaky Friday and True Lies. Oh. I love her in True Lies, so that was really fun to talk about. And also, just another plug, I do also have reviews and interviews on AwardsWatch, so you can read those as well.
Yeah, she works here. Erik, where can we find you and all your wonderfulness and all your photos and outfits from the Indie Spirit Awards?
Yeah, with my new ponytail.
Yeah.
There's a really good Oscar Wilde episode with Best Picture. I would recommend listening to it. It's a very, very good episode.
It's very good.
Who did that? Was I on it?
They're all really good. That one's like really good. I don't know why.
I wasn't on that.
Yes. You can
find
me. You be quiet. It's my turn. You can find me at AwardsWatch.com and AwardsWatch on Instagram and awards_watch on Twitter.
Yeah. Go follow Erik over there and read all of his predictions this week and see what he changes, because he's going to probably try to do it. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Ryan McQuade 77. You can follow me here at Awards Watch, the playlist, In Session Film, a ton of places. Next week, we'll know all the winners. I'll be here. I might be in a live room with Kevin Lee and Dan Bayer at South by Southwest. I will be recording, at least from there. Maybe Sophia will record via Zoom with us. I know Erik will be running around Los Angeles like a madman, so you will not be here, Erik. But we're gonna be talking just about our reactions to the Oscars. That's all we're gonna do. And the next week after that, Kevin and I and Dan will reconvene and talk about some of the fun stuff that's happened over at South by Southwest. So thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you all next time.